It's me. I'm Mikey, as pictured above. Welcome to our debate thing. Um, but we're not quite at the beginning yet. This is the pre. This is just a tribute. No, this is the prequel. We're gonna fill in our board that we will play with audience suggestions. And if you want your own board to fill in, go to our X account. It's the last pin thing. It's right there on the top. It's very cute. And I have a very adorable "Thanks Obama" free square in the middle. You're welcome. On the panel today, Ollie Man. Bum 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 bum. As you all expected. PC. Yeah, we got a suite coming. Let me get the board. This is the board. Say something real quick there, Ali, so I can make sure your mic is coming through.
Make sure my mic's coming through. I think we're going to have a great debate tonight. Should be fun. Right? It should be. We should have a different subtitle on the thing saying "the coach versus the couch." Right?
Well,
So,
I wrote that.
oh, did you? I didn't see that.
It's actually JD Couch Vance.
All right.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, to show him disrespect, I skewed with his dimensions of his photos, so he's all scrunched. And
Yeah.
I got a picture of him whining, and and his title is in Comic Sans.
There you go.
Because that's what he deserves. That's what he deserves. All right.
Yep.
So I have a couple written down. Tim said he has some. Where's my notes?
I didn't know we were supposed to think any, so I didn't. Oh no, I just flew off a cliff. Wow. I'm playing the new Star Wars Outlaws, and the speeder bike goes really fast. You do not have time to
Ollie,
react
we're live.
sometimes.
Ollie, we're live. I need you to focus like a laser beam right now.
All right.
So what I need so I think there's 25 squares. The middle's free.
Yeah.
So we got 24. 12 red, 12 blue, 12 things we think coach is going to say, 12 things that we think couch is going to say. I got 2 for couch. I got Stolen Valor. I think for sure he's going to bring up Stolen Valor. And then I think he's going to mention like something about small town life. Like old pickup truck, one stoplight kind of bullshit. Yeah. He's going to try that for sure. For sure.
Okay.
And then I hopped in here.
Is cats and dogs being eaten, pets being eaten going to come up, Springfield? But which side is going to say it?
That's the thing, though, that we got to pick now because it can only.
So we have to pick which side's going to say it. Okay.
Right, because the thing has to be a red square or a blue square. So then when you put it on your board, it'll make sense.
So I think Walsh is going to bring it up. He's going to say, "What's with that? Why are you guys making that shit up?"
So we want to put blue square pets.
Pets being eaten, yeah.
All right.
Or Springfield in general, just in case they don't mention pets being eaten specifically, but just the bullshit lies around Springfield.
I don't know if we can put lion on there, because that's just gonna be crazy.
You know, it's just gonna be.
I don't know.
Ding, 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 ding.
This is the
yeah.
quickest game of bingo in the history of bingo. Or this is not bingo. I'm sorry. That's a stupid. Bingo is a stupid game for stupid people. This is bingo.
Bingo.
I'm so clever.
So PC saying in the chat that Couch is going to say something about people with kids' votes count more. People who have kids, their votes count more. Something along those lines.
So that's a red square.
It's a red square for basically families are more important to voting.
Families' votes are more important.
Yeah.
Got it. So we got 3 red, 1 blue. In 49 minutes.
Come on, Mark, where are you? You're going to know everything that Tim says or
Hey,
Walt says, right?
do me a favor, Ollie. Can you
But
drop the invite link for this call in the group chat in case they're in the other one? I didn't get a notification, I don't think, but just in case they are
I got to figure out how to
confused.
do that then.
So it's in the invite thing in the bottom left, and then you can just copy link.
Copy
Yerp.
link. And I'll go drop that in the Facebook channel. You want me to drop there?
Yeah, our group chat. Please. I don't like opening the Facebook during a stream. I feel like something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Always feel like something bad's gonna happen. All right, I turn my. Is my focus autofocus? Are you off? Please be off.
I don't know.
I'm so close to this thing. I don't need autofocus. It just
You
does
you look
bad
you look
things.
in focus to me. I'm just saying.
All right, yeah, it's off. Good. Okay. Good. Again, here's the board.
Link has been dropped.
And thanks Obama right there in the center with his
So,
charming self, the war criminal.
We have another couch statement from a PC. Yeah, Trump is the only one that can save us. That's going to be said.
Oh,
That's going to be said.
let's say couch. I'll label that one couch sniffing. The Messiah.
Sniffing the hand. Yeah.
Oh, do I have that on the board still? Let's see.
Politicians, well, that's about the only sin I've never committed. I mean, the one thing I've never done
We need Walt
is
saying so.
sniff
What's
the
Walt
throne
gonna
of someone
say?
in power. I find that repulsive. I've never done it.
Waltz is going to attack him on education, so he's going to bring up education somehow. But I don't know how to be more specific about it.
Well, I'm going to say for an easy blue square that Walls is going to brag about breakfast.
Breakfast?
He's going to brag about breakfast. That's got to be worth a square. Because
Okay.
if he goes the whole thing without it, okay, I guess I'm the idiot who picked it. But he's got to bring in breakfast for all the kids in Minnesota. He's got to do that.
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah, he did that, so that's good.
Breakfast for the kids. There's a lot of eyes on there. All right, so we got 2 blues and 4 reds, and we need 12 of each.
We need 12 of each. Holy shit.
Yeah, we gotta maybe not.
We got
be
our
so
work cut out for us.
Maybe we should be less choosy, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Waltz is going to bring up, obviously going to bring up the women's right to choose, right?
Okay. Walls.
But I mean, they're just going to be
Well,
responding
I
to
mean,
questions.
Yeah, but I gotta make that a bingo square though. Like he's gotta do something. Like what is he gonna do? What is he gonna? Ooh, I want to put one on the red. I want to square if JD Vance has eyeliner on.
Oh, he's going to have eyeliner on. They're both going to have lots of makeup on, dude. It's just going to be harder to tell with one than the other.
Walls is gonna be out there crusty. I know it.
Maybe.
He's gonna be out there crusty. I know him. He'll have a new suit on, but he'll be crusty.
Do you think he's going to be wearing a suit, or do you think he's going to be more casual than that?
No, they gotta wear a suit.
You think? I don't know.
Ooh, is suits?
I would
on
like to
there?
be more casual.
Is suits this thing? Is that a neutral?
I don't know. I think if do we have any neutral squares? You put them all red and blue, but can we have some neutral ones?
I mean, I'm very loose with the rules here. So
I think if either one of them comes out dressed casual, way more chance that Walt is going to do it, though, right?
I'll put it in the walls. We'll put somewhat casual.
Yeah.
Suspiciously casual. Okay, so now we got 2, 4, 5. 5 red, 4 blue.
PC is saying that Waltz will use the word weird.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. See, thank you, PC. Just we need the obvious ones. That's what we're doing.
Yeah,
we're going past the obvious ones, going for the hole in ones. There's no need to do that. All right. Oh, and welcome everybody. If you're just popping in, we are filling in our board for VP Bingo.
Bingo.
Bin. Because this is the Bin Podcast Network. Get it?
Yep.
It's bingo. This is branded.
Bingo.
This is RIP. No one has thought of this. Like US, us. No one. Oh, I almost want to say like a random statistic about something. They're not getting fact checked, are they? No, they're not getting fact checked.
Oh, I hope they are.
No.
They're not? No, fuck.
Well, with that in mind,
Well-
that should maybe open up some questions we can throw on, or some squares.
Vance is going to throw out some numbers about immigration for sure, right?
Super inflated inflation.
Yeah.
Inflated inflation.
Inflated immigration.
Inflated immiflagration. Immiflagration. There you go. You'll know what it means when the square comes up, won't you?
Oh, shit. Ollie's sad right now.
What do you
Ollie
just-
has work to do. I have no pot busted up.
It's more than none.
Well, it's enough for a bowl, but I mean, I got work to do now. I got to bust up some pot.
We'll mention
Definitely
his-
do.
Oh, yep, good one. PC in the chat says he's gonna bring up his book.
Bench in his couch. Oh yeah, or his book. Yeah.
Well, same thing.
Will either one of them bring up the couch?
I
don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think it might be off limits.
I think they'll have to play it too clean. Like a rally, you can kind of flick the jab a little bit.
Yeah.
Fuck around a little bit, but not so much at the. And especially because this is the last one. We're not getting any more debates from anybody after this. It's this,
which
and
is
then,
disappointing.
I mean, if somebody wasn't scared, I mean, if y'all got
At
Trumpers,
first he
if y'all
was
got
afraid.
Trumpers-
Now he's petrified.
I mean, dude, you can't run though. Like you're ducking her, dude. That's not a good look. Like I'm gonna tear up the
It's not.
I'm gonna tear up the little turds over on TikTok one of these nights.
You remember how anxious he was to go after Hillary in debates,
And Biden.
right? And Biden especially now, right? But no,
He said,
just
"Nah."
wants nothing to do with Kamala.
They said, "Nah, man, you can't debate no more." It's like I could take her. It's like, brother, do you remember what you said last time? What'd I say? What was so bad?
Springfield.
They are
Pets.
memeing you. And also, you're getting sued for that little fiasco because they wanted to-
that's right. He is.
because they decided to double, triple, quadruple down on it. So now they're going to have some litigation to worry about. PC
PC
said,
just said something.
yeah,
I took
got
my
it.
glasses off. I can't read it.
I'm trying to read it, but you're talking over. I think he's going to play it by ear. Whatever they bring, they have to respond to. Yeah.
He's got to have. They're both going to have a couple of one-liners that they just got to have ready to go. Although Vance is going to be very robot-like in his delivery, so he will fail to land.
They were talking about like Walls being nervous. I doubt it. Dude's a
I
governor.
think it's more
dude's a gov-
nervous energy because he's excited to get out there and do it. I could see something like that.
Like, dude's a governor.
Yeah.
And he was like the only blue in a sea of red up there for a long time. Like, he's used to getting up there and arguing with people. That's not the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, I think it's
Fix my
more he's
microphone.
nervous. He's excited to show his shit and get out there and really just say, this guy's a fucking moron.
But he really
he's
doesn't know what
excited
he's
to show it.
doing.
So
And with Trump aggravating every active shooter from here to Mexico,
yeah.
like it's gonna.
Will the
be,
shootings be brought up?
Ooh, there we go. The shootings.
But I mean, that's going to be a question from the moderators, isn't it?
Well, who's gonna bring up the shootings if the moderator doesn't? Oh, it's got to be Vance.
Vance.
Yeah, it's got to be Vance.
Yeah. Vance is if moderators don't bring it up, Vance is going to bring it up, saying, and it's going to be another religious thing,
Near shooting.
right?
I'm gonna say near
Yeah.
shooting.
He's going to say God saved Trump from death to save. Well, that's going to be
Man,
almost the same thing. You know?
Can't you see Vance like being the scar of the story and just like kind of like Mufasa-ing Trump off a cliff and just being like, "Long live the king." Now Dudley gets his day. Now Dudley gets his day. Like I could totally see him like doing some "I never said I would save you" bullshit. Like, and now I'm the king. He's got a very Joffrey vibe. That's what it is, dude. That's what the J's
Joffrey?
for.
Joffrey, yeah, I see
He's
what you're saying.
Joffrey.
Yeah.
It all makes more sense now. Now I get it. I'm not mad at him. He's Joffrey. He's not able to be liked. Ugh.
It's the way he was written. He was written that way. He can't help himself. Oh.
Al Trucker, what's up, brother?
Hey, buddy.
How's it
Al
going?
might get on here. We're accepting people on the panel if anybody wants to get on.
Yeah, we're filling out our bingo our bingo cards. VP bingo, and the free square is Obama, and it says thanks Obama. So that's what we're working on. We got the way we broke it down is like there's 25 squares. The free ones you subtract. So we got 24. So we're trying to get like 12 red squares, 12 blue squares, and we got what are we at here? 2.
Even if we went
6,
like 8, and 8, right?
4.
We could have 8 neutral ones.
Okay. Well, then we need 3 more blues, and then we can do the neutral ones.
Yeah. Because neutral ones could be just things like how they're dressed and whether or not this question or that question gets asked. Because that's stuff the announcers are going to do.
Because you know what? For the neutral squares, I definitely want to put in the hurricane.
Yep. Who's going to... They're going to... The announcers are definitely going to ask them a question about how would you have handled the hurricane thing.
Well, they're out there they're out there saying bullshit that the governor won't help the Republican areas.
What?
Yes. I don't know.
I didn't hear that.
I don't know why they want to lose so bad, but they do. They really do. I don't know.
Because that's just
strange.
BS. That the governor just... The party lines don't come into effect during fucking crises. You just
no one
fucking
cares,
react
dude.
and help.
No one cares. You can see you can piss further after the floodwaters have gone.
The only ones that actually think that way are Republicans, which makes us half worried that Republicans might do something like that. But
Yeah.
Democrats never fucking pull that shit. They're the first ones in to help.
Yes, Al, we got bingo.
Yep.
If you want to do your own card, it is on our X, our Twitter. It's our last post at Bin Podcast.
And as we said, if you want to join the panel,
He said he's recovering, so he's just going to hang out.
yeah, that's right.
So we got weird, somewhat casual, something I guess I didn't finish typing. Oh, no. That's the same one. Breakfast for the kids.
Yeah.
And pets being
Yeah.
eaten.
Pets being eaten, yeah.
That's what we got for
Trying
the
to-
blues.
I'm trying to think of something.
Blues.
Oh, I ripped a hole in my glove, damn it.
Well, that glove is now useless.
Pretty much. It'll get me through the rest of busting up this pot. I'll have a little sticky spot on the end of my thumb.
It's your Spider-Man thumb.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I don't know if it's on the Twitch or not. That's okay. I think we're rocking just the old YouTubes tonight.
Just the YouTubes.
Let's see. Where did I put that old debate coverage at? Oh boy.
What channel are we watching the debate
And I
on
think
tonight,
that
Mikey?
chemistry matters.
I'm going
PBS
PBS NewsHour.
PBS,
Wisconsin and
our
Michigan
favorite.
at stake.
Yeah,
The fact
PBS
that
is my favorite
Pennsylvania, as
because
Bob Casey has told me
copyright
over and
free,
over
baby,
again,
because it's
you've got
taxpayer
the whole
funded.
half of that
We
state,
appreciate
that
you,
looks a lot
PBS.
more
We
like
do.
the
And
Midwest,
viewers like
that would
you.
be the western half of Pennsylvania. I know
Thank
I
you.
campaigned there for president. That feels very Midwest and associates with the Midwest.
is,
so I think you're going to
Alts
see
is going
a
to bring
ticket
up how
in Kamala
to
Harris. She
how
decided to
coach
bring
flip
someone
flop.
in
Oh
that's
yeah,
different
how
than herself.
how
And I think
how
that's a really
Tim
big strength.
JD
Has a way
called
different
Trump
background as a-
Nazi just a couple of
Oh,
years
yeah.
ago,
Yeah.
and now he's right behind him. See, I personally though, I think when he called him a Nazi or called him Hitler, I think he thought it was a compliment.
Oh
saying.
no, you're
I'm just
probably
saying.
right.
I'm just
That's
saying.
why I was like, dude, that's why I love this guy. He's the Hitler of our time.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I strongly feel like that. Yeah, he's our Hitler.
Oh, it was
And he was kind
just
of raving for him.
it was just the wrong audience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just the wrong.
No.
It was true from a certain point of view.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, Obi-Wan.
oh, Jebediah. Why you gotta be so crazy all the time? Let's see if I can get this chat box to go. First try.
What are you trying to do?
Get this chat box rolling.
Okay.
Oh my God,
Chat
my
box.
shoulders killing me. I must have slept on it funny.
That would be my guess.
Yeah. Zero, do you have to come up next to me with your sniffing and your scooting? Do you have to? Huh?
Hi, Zero. You're a
school
good
teacher,
puppy.
And as someone who has
Don't lie to
bill
the
would have
boy.
put 1,500 more border agents
We'll be
on
right
the
back.
border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime,
go.
trying to do their job.
Oh, what's going on?
On border security, that means 1,500 Customs and Border Patrol agents, but also hundreds of asylum and other new officers. She also would like to invest in more detection technology, specifically to catch fentanyl smuggled in. Now, that bill, of course, Amna, is the one that former President Trump personally killed, even though it was getting some bipartisan support. So what would he do as far as border security is concerned? Let's take a look at the side-by-side here. He is not proposing to increase the number of border agents, asylum officers, or other personnel. Instead, he is pledging and stressing that he wants to finish his border wall. Now, Trump's approach to border security is much more about deportation and deterrence than about the actual physical barriers right now at the border.
So tell us more about that. What are we hearing from the candidates in terms of how they want to handle both migrants who are now attempting to cross the border and also the millions who are already
This is
here
going to get
as
sketchy, guys,
undocumented immigrants?
but I need
That's
you to
right.
trust
Let's,
me.
in this case, start
Are you
now
guys
with
with
former
me?
President Trump, because this
Are
is
you
the
with me? I
essential
need you
part
to trust
of what
me.
he is saying, an
I need you to
essential
trust
part
me.
of
Be
the
with
debate,
me.
of course.
It's gonna be
Former
okay.
President Trump
It's gonna be okay.
is centered around the idea
got
of
this.
Yes, we
having
will
mass
survive.
We got this.
deportations, the largest in history in this country, of millions of undocumented immigrants. He says this would be done by local police, the National Guard, and possibly by active duty military, with the possibility of increasing detention centers to hold these individuals. Now, at the debate, Mr. Trump gave his rationale and raised an unproven, debunked idea that Democrats have caused a border crisis to get votes.
Obviously.
This will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow, and I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country.
How the hell do you
Now,
think you got
it
here?
is not legal, of
Numbnuts?
course, for non-citizens to vote in this country, and there's no evidence of that happening in large numbers. Republicans say the problem is it's not tracked well enough, but there really is not that evidence. As for mass deportations, it isn't clear exactly how that would work. Trump has indicated that he would have a national dragnet to find undocumented immigrants, perhaps beginning with those who they know are criminals, but how would he find them? It's unclear. I spoke with Jenny Murray of the center-right National Immigration Forum
Oh,
about
sweetheart, you
concerns.
know what a witch hunt is.
It's extremely problematic, and it's problematic to all folks across the country. What we're finding is, over 75% of Americans do not support that type of an approach. Whether you are
I'm done with her. I'm done with them. I just want to see what they were talking about. Well, I was going to bring up how... Okay, we're put that on ding. Flippity floppity. JD. Okay, we got 2. We got 5. 6. And we got 5. Oh. So total 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. So we need 9 more. We can do 9 neutrals or just whatever we can think of.
That was weird. The chat that they put in the side chat just got broadcasted to the video.
Yeah, it always does that.
Really? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
you never look at the screen.
Oh.
You're usually looking
What
at
is-
my
what-
shared screen.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of like your own screen. But you're all big now because I'm hidden. Hidden away.
So that means the stuff that we type in the side chat is not secret from our audience when I always thought it was. That sucks.
Well, no, I usually use your NDI, but I'm not doing that. I'm capturing the whole window so I don't have to do the whole thing. That's the beauty of NDI, my friend. Native direct something. I don't know. Some sort of input.
Difficult as former President Trump. She also supports refugee resettlement, and she would support a path to citizenship for DACA. Those on the right say that.
So we missed the beginning. It says Harris on undocumented immigrants now supports criminal enforcement, would narrow asylum access, supports refugee resettlement, permanent status for DACA. So the way to go. Your quest towards the middle has just made you a Democrat and Republicans. Like, this is a Republican standpoint. This is not restorative. This isn't progressive. This does nothing to actually address the problem. Instead of maybe sending the National Guard to attack the children and the mothers of those children, why don't you send them after the cartel? I mean, if only you could like talk to the Mexican government, like on the phone or something, and like coordinate your efforts to, like, I don't know. You guys found a way to wipe out Gaza, but you can't get rid of the cartel. Got it. Like, it's very weird that we have extra bombs for people who are different, but not always enough bombs for people who are bad. Cool.
Okay.
Her ideas fall short of solving the problem.
The Senate bill shows that it does not accomplish.
All right, let's take a look at your office here. What the hell's going on in here? What does this guy do for a friggin' living? He's got planes. He's got some plane charts. That's a colored graph of some sort.
World map on the wall up in the back. Big whiteboard with lots of writing on it.
Oh yeah,
Really?
and he's got different headings with the underlined thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost like maybe he's keeping, like, is he in charge of flights or something like that anywhere?
Oh,
Just a total guess.
Hold on, I think this guy's a villain. You see that lamp back there with the little green shade on it? That's a villain lamp.
It's an accounting lamp is what it is. It's a banking lamp. I see those in banks all the time, don't you?
I'm just saying what I said. I just saying what I said.
Yeah.
There's really anything
Bankers are
in terms
evil.
of border
Oh, he's from the fucking Heritage Foundation. He's a fucking villain.
Yeah.
security or immigration reform. But as I said,
The light will send you the truth, man. The truth.
Yeah.
politically, it's a pretty handy cudgel. It actually makes the situation worse. It would lock in about 2 million illegal crossers a year who would be added to the pile in this sort of limbo that is our immigration asylum processing system.
Now, the numbers he mentions assumes this unprecedented level of migration we have now. We know it's not limited to America. There is a global migration surge right now.
But why is there a global migration surge? Some people would ask. I don't know. Maybe it's like the EU and North American geopolitics. Maybe it's the fact that we're dumping so much CO2 into the air that the rainforest is dying and the barrier reef is dying, and everyone's so hungry and broke from the despots that are taking over everything. They're cutting down the rainforest to grow cows because they want to make beef, because they have to make money outside of the cartel's control, because we did that to them. Why the hell would they want to leave that place? Why wouldn't they just want to stay there forever? No, I'm coming up to where all the friggin' money's coming from. I'm going north. I'm going to the head of the river. I'm going to the mouth of, you know what I mean? I'm going to the source. That's where the money is, and there's no cartel there. Oh, it's the American government. Just kidding.
That's right.
We're back, baby.
Okay, so this is what they're proposing as candidates, right? You've also been digging into their records.
Oh my God, did you hear what they do in Poland?
No.
Their prime minister just cleared it. It's open fire on people crossing the border illegal.
What?
Live ammo.
Are you talking the citizens can fire or
anybody?
The military? Anybody can just shoot somebody crossing the border.
Yeah.
What? That's crazy. That's a bit crazy.
And he's like super cavalier about it. I don't know, man. I don't know what timeline we got sucked into, but this shit's weird everything's been fucking weird after COVID, man. Maybe it's COVID brain. All the world leaders have COVID brain.
COVID brain. Or it could be what's his name said there. It could be just all world leaders have got a worm in their brain.
Like Kennedy.
And it's controlling them. Right? And what's his name's the only sane one, and he let the thing out of the bottle. Right?
Kennedy, he's the only sane.
Kennedy, yeah, that's his name. I just couldn't think.
Gross.
Robert.
That's what they've actually done. What does that show?
A couple things. As president, Donald Trump oversaw 52 miles of new primary border fencing.
Ooh, the border wall. Of course we got to put the border wall.
He also pushed for a ban on Muslims entering this country. That was rejected by courts, but he says he still wants to ban many people coming from Muslim countries. A note on his rhetoric, though. As William in this chair last night pointed out, the words from the Trump and Vance campaign often dehumanize immigrants. Now, as for Harris...
Yeah, as they should be dehumanized, unlike almost all of his wives and children and in-laws and... his whole crew. I mean, like, they're okay to be immigrants. Like, J.D. Vance's family is fucking biracial with immigrants. Like, I don't understand this. Like, come on, y'all. Come on, y'all.
She was appointed to oversee root causes of migration. Republicans say she was in charge of the border. No, this was about 3 countries in Central America. She did secure $9 billion in aid to help address those root causes of migration. Her campaign says also that she hasn't been to the border since 2021. In part, they say she is about substance, not about show. Regardless, Amna, both of these candidates, I think, are going to...
Wayne Maker in the chat.
Oh, hi, Wayne. Sorry, take that back.
I'm Idris Elba. I goes where I goes.
Have to talk more about this issue in the next few months.
It's a big issue this election year. Lisa Desjardins, thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Is it started yet? What time is it? Oh, we got 20 minutes.
We got 20 minutes, yep.
Oh, okay.
Californian wine growers.
Who cares?
And if you want to be part of our panel tonight, you can send us a message and we will get you a link.
Yeah, Ollie will do it.
I will.
Yeah, Ollie's all over it.
Nobody's got access to my shit, man. They're all going to be sending you messages by asking for the link.
No, you got this. I believe in you.
All right, if anybody sends me a message, I'll send the link.
Yeah, send him anything. But do random shit like he does me. Fucking sends me fucking the strangest things. The strangest things.
I work hard trying to find strange shit to send you now, man. It's getting harder and harder.
I was like, this is like several tangents deep, man. Like, I don't even know.
Yep.
Yeah, where are the boys?
I don't know. I think I told them to be on at about 1:45. So that's what I sent in Facebook this afternoon there sometime.
Oh, I forgot to put it in the bin thing. I just assume everybody can see what I can see.
Nope. I'll jump in if I'm awake. Yeah, sure, Wayne. If you know how to contact me in some way, shape, or form.
I'm putting it in our thing.
Okay.
He's in the bin one. The other bin one.
Okay.
You're in the unboxed. You're in the unboxed one. I'm in both, and I'm very confused. Okay.
Yeah.
I can do this. I can do many things.
There you go.
It just won't let you hold your finger on there to copy things. That's what pisses me off. It makes you do this other button.
Let's see here. I better open up Discord because some people can only reach me on Discord. Oh my goodness. Discord has 14 things it wants to install. That was quick.
Dude, is Discord just malware? Is it just malware? It's just malware, right?
Kinda, yeah.
It just runs so friggin' heavy on my... It's so resource heavy. And I'm really not doing anything. I'm like having one conversation. Like all of this takes less than Discord. And I just can't understand what the fuck they're doing with my fuck... Are they just like bit mining with my shit? Is that what it is? Are they just bit mining with my shit while I'm not paying attention? I think that's what it is. I think they're just using everybody. Because there's no reason for that shit to be a fucking blank ass menu and be running at fucking 500 megabytes. Like, what the fuck are you doing? What is happening? What is going on this nothing screen? Why won't you show me? There it is.
Welcome.
Oh, no.
Yo, give me just a second.
No, I'm not giving you anything.
Yes, we have been live for 40 minutes.
It's great to have you here, Lisa. So let's start with former President Donald Trump. He talks often about crime despite his own felony convictions. What's his plan to
he lit him up real quick. I like that.
address crime in America?
Trump's approach is blunt and it focuses on enforcement. Here is what he said to the National Rifle Association in May.
We have become a drug-infested, crime-ridden nation.
Has he seen his kids? Never mind.
Which is incapable of solving even the simplest of problems.
Again, has he seen it? Never mind.
We will institute the powerful death penalty for drug dealers, where each dealer is responsible.
Is this a deep fake? Yo, what's up with this kid?
That it definitely sounds not quite right. Is it an AI?
That's what I'm. But he's so. And if you guys haven't seen the last episode of Unbox Politics, where we did a Trump video from, I think it was like 92, 94 or something like that. The difference in diction and eloquence is
massive.
It's staggering. And because we all kind of like have gotten used to it and kind of like gotten older ourselves in the last 10 years. Nah, dog.
We've gotten the gradual decline.
Yeah,
so we didn't see it. But when you zoom out, rough.
For the death
I really hope that my kid is brave enough to tell me when I've drifted off and I'm talking like that, so I can understand why people don't understand me anymore.
Because it's night and day, y'all.
Of at least 500 people or more.
Trump has given a few other details about this.
But he likes Duterte. Duterte? President of the Philippines. Or was it the Philippines? Or Vietnam? He was like murdering everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like anybody that sold drugs, he would just murder them. Just capital punishment. That's not how it works, brother. It's not how it works.
Without the music, we can look at it a little more specifically. First, to do this, he would require that police forces, in order to get federal funding, employ stop.
Nope. Fuck that.
and frisk. That is that police method which looks at people that police believe are suspicious, and they would pat them down to try and find weapons or guns.
Giuliani was a big proponent of that in New York. That was his big "I'm tough on crime" thing. Tons of people picked up for no reason. No reason. Getting their face cracked with a flashlight or something like that because, mayor just said I could do whatever I want to you. Come here, give me your ID. Where's your ID? You're supposed to have ID. Give me your ID. You know that game.
Yep.
And then they just brutalize. It's just a green light to just brutalize people for absolutely no reason.
Or drugs. It's a controversy.
Because usually people don't like to be stopped and frisked. And it's like, oh, now you're resisting my stop and frisk. Now I get to punch and frisk.
Controversial program. He would require it in order to get federal funding. He also would have a crackdown on illegal drugs. To do that, as he said,
it's pronounced
he would
fabricate
invoke a death
frisk.
penalty, he says, on drug dealers. He hasn't given other specifics.
And what's this crackdown on illegal drug? What are you snorting every day before your debates and before your rallies, brother? I'm sure that's not prescription. Like, get out of here. You're using yourself. Look at your kid. Your whole clique is using, dude. The whole of DC is users. Get out of here, man. Get out of here. Death penalty for drug. Yeah, you're going to lock up everybody in D.C.? Yeah, I didn't think so.
And human traffickers. We don't know exactly what that means, but that's as severe a penalty as you can have. It's in contrast, though, to when he was president. At that time, he signed
Notice I didn't say nothing about the human traffickers. They get what's on the paper.
the First Step Act. That's something that actually reduced the punishments and sentences for some nonviolent drug offenders, including traffickers, and he personally pardoned or commuted the sentences for dozens of drug traffickers.
So what about Vice President Harris, former prosecutor?
Oh, wait, so those were part of the people that he pardoned for absolutely no reason.
Former state attorney general. What's her approach?
Let's talk especially about policing and Vice President Kamala Harris. Her opponents accuse Harris of wanting to defund the police, but she has never used that phrasing. Instead, she's really careful.
But she's black. Of course she has. Right?
Well, no, she's not, Mikey. She's not black.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
She's a chameleon.
You're right. She's whatever she wants to be. Fucking racist pig. God, man.
Carefully walked this line, sometimes in a vague way. So let's go back to 2020. After the death of George Floyd, Harris then said that, in fact,
Dude, can you imagine if a genie fucking popped up right now and was like, hey, death or I zap you back to 2020?
Oh, 2020 all day. You know how fucking rich I'd be?
We'd be selling everything to buy graphics cards. We'd be kings.
No, you don't even have to do that. Just liquefy your life into money and invest it in cryptocurrency. You will literally make $1 billion and then you just sell off.
Yep.
Like it's obscene.
Crypto went really big and then disappeared.
And then it crashed. And it's kind of recovered, but that's a different conversation. But still, you could have literally made $100 million in about a week with no effort.
Write the date of that. Write that date down so that when we get this time machine worked out,
we can go back and do.
We're gonna do the fucking money glitch. We're gonna fucking money glitch that fucking date. We're gonna keep going back to it. Keep going back to it, and then by the time you know it, we made it. And then we get all the billions.
No, we got to be careful though, because if you do that, you're going to break the economy.
No, we won't.
Yeah.
By the time the time that we're going forward to, can you imagine what fucking inflation's going to be back then? We have to do this at low level before we get there, or we won't be able to buy any armor.
But our money is going to inflate in the bank to there because we're going to make it back into 2020. And the thing is, if we're worth trillions of dollars in 2020, what's going to happen?
I was thinking about just buying gold bars and pulling them through the portal. Like,
I'm going to literally buy everything Elon Musk has purchased before him, so he can't have it.
Yes.
Hire all the rocket people right before. I will give you $1,000 more a week.
That guy that, because Elon Musk didn't create Tesla, the guy that actually created Tesla, I'd be like, how much do you want to get your company off the ground?
All right, just like super. Give him like a super benefactor, shadow super benefactor thing, and next thing you know, all of his competitors are just fucking winning, and he just just loses everything. Outplayed.
Instead of buying it before he does, couldn't you wait until he spends his money on it, then open the competitive company and just hire all of his workers away from him for like a 30 or 40% increase in pay?
Just leak all of his shit every time.
Just steal his
keep leaking all of his IP. Leak all of it.
Destroy his shit.
We need to crush his spirit before he finds any happiness. Literally every idea he has
wait, I got it, Mark.
catches fire.
Mark, I got it.
Before he can get there.
We just go back in time and end the apartheid. Now his family has nothing. All right, we only have 8 minutes.
We could buy his emerald mine and give it back to the people.
To buy all the emeralds and then rob him of the money. Wayne says she's a cop. Thanks, Wayne.
Yep. But you're joining us, Wayne. Get in here.
Real quick, though, we haven't finished all of our squares. Here's the red squares.
Shit.
We only got 8 minutes left. Red squares so far. And let me pull up the board. There's the board. You can get your own VP bingo.
You're dumb.
Yeah.
Bingo
Mark,
card
we need you to give us
on
some Walt sayings.
So go to our Twitter, our X page, and go there. Or I actually posted on our Facebook. So, yeah. So thus far for the red squares, stolen valor, small town, family votes are more important, couch sniffing the Messiah, J.D. Vance eyeliner, inflagration. That's the immigrants and the immigration and the Yeah. He's gonna bring up. He's gonna bring
14 eggs.
He's gonna bring up his book, The Near Shooting, and the Border Wall. That's what we got for JD. For the blue squares, pets being eaten, breakfast for the kids, flippity floppity JD. Perhaps he will dress somewhat casual. He will say weird. Mark, you're a Minnesota native. Give us some more.
Nope. Can't prove it.
What else is Walt's going to say to us?
Yeah, we need some squares.
or
we need some squares for him. Things that he will probably do in the debate, but he might not.
He will say something along the lines of "Leave each other alone, and it's not your business."
Ooh, minding our own business. There you go.
Yeah.
Nunya. I will write Nunya on there. That's what
he will talk about fixing things himself, like whether it's a truck or an engine or something along those lines.
Did you guys see that thing I dropped in the group chat?
Yes, he will. You're right. He will definitely do some sort of analogy where he's fixing an engine to fixing some problem. Yes.
Engine analogy. Yes. You know what? The carburetor is just like filthy like this. There's no way you're gonna get good compression down in your power
I could see that.
Exactly.
Doesn't have to be engine. It can be anything like mechanical or toolish analogy to fix a problem.
Some sort of handyman. Some sort of Al Borland fucking comparison. What say you, Tim? Hi.
What's up? Hi.
Tim, welcome, buddy. We were worried about you.
Tim, we're filling in the bingo squares.
I'm only like 7 minutes late. We said 45, right?
Yeah.
Quarter of? Yeah.
But we
I'm
started
10
an
minutes
hour
late.
ago, just to be safe.
Started an hour ago?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We've had the stream going for an hour.
If only you had the bell notification on the bin podcast.
I did. I just chose to ignore it.
Oh. Well, then never mind.
Yeah.
But we're filling in a couple of blue squares here for walls. Recap on the blue squares: pets being eaten, breakfast for the kids, flippity floppity JD, somewhat casual dress, the word weird. Hold on, Nunya, some sort of engine analogy, and Tim says,
hot dish. Or Mark, what's that Minnesota food that he's good at?
Is hot? We do make hot dishes. That is true.
Midwestern food. Tim, is that your call?
Midwestern food. Yes, he has to mention folksy Midwestern food.
Okay.
Ooh, blue collar.
I have
the
Are
word
we
blue
drinking?
collar?
I have my drink.
Like
I'm smoking.
theme of
I
blue
don't drink.
collar.
Too vague.
Iran.
Minnesota food.
No, not
Okay.
you. I was
I'm
talking
here.
to Mark.
I'm right here, Tim.
Tim over here double answering like that was someone else. All right, let's just leave it there.
Oh, I got another one because nobody mentioned it, but him mentioning JD Vance fucking couches.
We debated whether or not that was going to
We
be
don't
in there.
think
We
it's gonna
thought it
show
would be
up.
off limits.
I think it'll be up there. I think he'll make an allusion to it.
Tim, all right, I'll put Tim's name
All
on there
right.
for it. I don't think it's gonna happen though.
I don't think so either. I think it's going to be off limits.
Couch, motherfucker.
Because he worked it into his stump speech. Like, it's
What
gonna be
was
there.
Nunya? What's Nunya? Nunya
What-
business.
Yeah, where he tells everybody that, oh, in Minnesota, we just mind our own damn business.
Yeah. You don't have women's right to choose in there anywhere. I think he's going to get heavy into that.
Did we fill in all the Vance
That's
squares?
kind of like a policy thing, less than like a.
I guess, yeah, that's probably something that does. You're right.
That's
it's
less
more of a neutral.
debatey. That's kind of.
guys,
platformy.
Wayne's here. We gotta stop talking about him.
Oh, hi, Wayne. How long have you been listening?
Oh, hello, you little cunts.
Oh, holy shit. Fucking
Jesus
fix
Christ.
your mic.
Fix your
Kick 'em out.
microphone.
Ah.
Fix your mic. Fix it.
Turn the distortion off on your microphone. Christ,
dude.
turn it down.
That actually hurt.
Check your devices before you talk, brother.
No, bruv, I'm going straight in.
I'm going to kick you out of here for real. You're overloading my shit. Fix
Yeah,
it.
that's bad.
Turn it down and set it to the right microphone.
So
Yeah,
you take
dude.
your microphone and you point it directly at you.
Oh my god.
And if you point it directly at you, it sounds way better.
Thank you, Mark.
This is all
Thank
the
you.
tension that I
Appreciate
have
it.
in my body right now. It's from you.
So,
You're welcome.
did we fill in the Vance squares? Are they all filled in?
I don't think so.
We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. We can do 3 more.
Okay, what are them? I don't want to.
right.
I don't want
I
to
didn't say-
repeat.
Stolen valor, small town, family votes are more important. Couch sniffing the Messiah, J.D. Vance the eyeliner, in the mythaligeration, his book, near shootings, border wall.
Okay, no one has
Making shit up.
no one has done cat ladies yet because
You think Vance is gonna bring up cat ladies?
I think I mean he's not gonna say cat ladies, but he's gonna be like single women or women who don't have children or something like that.
How is my mic now?
Bad.
It's
Turn your
too
gain
loud.
turn your gain down to nothing. It's all the way cracked, dude. Like you are blasting us right now.
Yeah.
How's that?
Still
Better.
loud. Tap that mic. Is
No,
that the mic
that's
you're
not
using?
your gain. Your gain's on the back of the thing.
Well, this mic has never been changed.
Wayne,
Well,
I
it was-
know that my ears are bleeding now and they didn't previously.
How's
Yeah,
that?
it was set to
Yes.
better. That's
Wait,
better.
wait.
Stay right there.
There you go.
Jesus
Right
fuck,
there,
Wayne.
right there.
But maybe 5%.
You let you know
more.
your kids
Right,
mess
right,
with it, you
right.
fucking liar.
This-
Your kids
this
are
mic-
always
this-
messing with it.
This mic never gets touched.
Your
It
kids
literally
mess with
gets
it.
Plugged in and done.
Your kids mess
Yeah.
with it. I've seen her mess with it.
Are you saying my child is a criminal? How dare you?
Are you saying
No,
that
I
changing
stuck
the
in his
volume is
flashlight
illegal?
since last week and messed with it.
It really is. In my house, my rules.
They're taking our sound
Welcome.
jobs.
Well,
They're
welcome
fucking with
anyway.
the microphone.
They're taking our gain. They're taking our mixer.
My child is in charge of the volume.
Not-
That is it. That is it.
So for Vance, it's
Mhm.
definitely cat ladies, and it's definitely what was the other one I had for Vance? I think you guys mentioned the other one.
Making shit up.
Making shit up.
Lies is just a given.
It's the American way.
Hey.
It's the
What?
political.
Quiet, you.
Um,
Ain't nobody ask you over there.
Great Britain.
Wayne, just as long as you mean America in the colloquial way and not in the North American way.
That's who he's talking about. You specifically. He's saying you
no,
specifically.
He's not. Fucking, we got problems, Wayne.
You specifically.
I'm in
is what he's
Canada,
talking
buddy.
about.
All right. My other one for Vance is jobs.
Jobs.
It's too vague. Give me more. Too vague. Give me more.
I mean,
manufacturing jobs.
Yeah, manufacturing. Bringing back manufacturing jobs.
Tim is effectively Canadian. His location.
I am not.
No, Marcus.
I am
Marcus.
not.
I am technically Canadian.
I'm closer than Tim.
He's got the accent.
I got the weather. Oh, and
Yeah,
we're
I'm
on,
trying to
baby.
say,
Oh, we are
Joining
getting
us
going.
for tonight's CBS
I'm from
News
Canada,
Vice
eh?
Presidential
And
debate.
they think
We
I'm-
want to welcome
I
our
don't
viewers
think so,
on
eh?
CBS
Are you
and
out
other
and about?
networks here in the U.S. and around the world.
England is
We
just
have a
northern
consequential
France.
night ahead, and our focus is the issues that
Right.
matter to you, the
You-
voter.
Eastern Ireland.
You shut your whole mouth.
Minnesota's Democratic Governor
Eastern
Tim
Ireland.
Walz
Make me.
and Ohio's
Make
Republican
me,
Senator
bitch.
J.D. Vance tonight meeting
Well,
for
we
the
I'll
lost
get on
it
the
on the
catamaran
casual one
right now.
already.
Yeah, is that what the British Navy's reduced to? Catamarans?
thoughtful and civil debate.
Pretty much, mate. Budget cuts.
Okay. Debate rules are in effect. Your jokes must be swift.
One-liners. Got it.
Taylor
One
Swift got it.
Not allowed to
liners.
rattle on.
Do not rattle on.
Can I
Do
just
not.
call everyone cunts then?
These are the rules that both campaigns have agreed to.
And this debate watching arena.
Questions will be directed at one candidate who will have 2 minutes to respond. The
I have
other
some
candidate
fucking
will be
epic
allowed 2
shoulder
minutes
pads.
for rebuttal. Then each
like a
candidate
villain.
will get another minute to make further points.
Maleficent.
An additional 1 minute each
Look
at the
at them
discretion of
shoulder
the
pads,
moderator.
bro.
The primary
2
role
minutes,
of the moderators
2 minutes,
is to
1
facilitate
minute,
the
1
debate
minute
between
for
the
each question.
candidates, enforce the rules, and provide the
2, 2,
candidates
1,
with
1
the
done.
opportunity to fact-check claims made by each other.
8, 6,
CBS
7,
News
5,
reserves
3,
the right to mute the candidates' microphones to maintain decorum. We have not shared the questions or topics with the
Can't mute me,
campaigns.
baby.
The stage is set. Governor,
Yeah,
Senator,
I can
thank
just
you
shut my
for
laptop.
joining us. Let's get started.
See, now,
Tonight, our
I
country is
already
facing
don't like the way
several
they're
unfolding
set up.
crises. The Middle East is on the brink of war. Americans are suffering from the catastrophic impact of Hurricane Helene. And now a labor strike as 25,000 dock workers from Maine to Texas are picketing.
The Bin Podcast supports labor.
We're going to begin tonight with the Middle East. Margaret. Thank you, Nora. Earlier today, Iran launched its largest attack yet on Israel, but that attack failed, thanks to joint U.S. and Israeli defensive action. President Biden has deployed more than 40,000 U.S. military personnel and assets to that region over the past year to try to prevent a regional war. Iran is weakened, but the U.S. still considers it the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, and it has drastically reduced the time it would take to develop a nuclear weapon. It is down now to 1.
Is she asking the question for 2 minutes? I just need some clarification. Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's
The
a long
debate's
question.
over already.
Yeah, well, God, good night, everybody. Jesus, lady.
1 or 2 weeks' time. Governor Walz, if you were the final voice in the Situation Room, would you support or oppose a preemptive strike by Israel on Iran? You have 2 minutes.
Well, thank you, and thank you for those joining in
Wow,
on tonight.
that's a hard question.
Let's keep in
Yeah, way to start him off with a softball.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you guys.
World War III.
Are you ready
pretty
to?
much.
Are you ready to push the nuclear button? Like, what the fuck?
mind where this started. October 7th, Hamas terrorists
Oh, here we go. October
massacred
7th.
Wrong
400
answer.
Israelis and took prisoners.
Fuck off.
That should be
Israel's
on the bingo
ability
card.
to be able to defend itself is absolutely fundamental.
Oh, that should have been
It's,
on there.
hostile,
Yeah, defend
fundamental,
yourself, defend yourself.
and in
Fuck
the
off.
humanitarian crisis in Gaza. But the expansion of Israel and its proxies is an
Ready to close my door.
absolute fundamental necessity for the United States to have the steady leadership there. You saw it experienced today, where along with our Israeli partners and our coalition, able to stop the incoming attack. But what's fundamental here is that steady leadership is going to matter. It's clear, and the world saw it on that debate stage a few weeks ago. A nearly 80-year-old Donald Trump talking about crowd sizes is not what we need in this moment. But it's not just that. It's those that were closest to Donald Trump that understand how dangerous he is when the world is this dangerous. His chief of staff, John Kelly, said that he was the most flawed human being he'd ever met. And both of his secretaries of defense and his national security advisors said he should be nowhere near the White House. Now, the person closest to them, Donald Trump, said he's unfit for the highest office. That was Senator Vance. What we've seen out of Vice President Harris is we've seen steady leadership. We've seen a calmness
All
that
you have
is
to do
able
is
to be
quote
able to
Vance.
draw on the coalitions to bring them together. Understanding that our allies matter. When our allies see Donald Trump turn towards Vladimir Putin, turn towards North Korea, when we start to see that type of fickleness around holding the coalitions together, we will stay committed. And as the Vice President said today we will protect our forces and our allied forces, and there will be consequences.
Governor, your time is up. Senator
Good
Vance,
answer.
the same question. Would you support
That's a flippity floppity.
Just-
a preemptive?
We quickly got to the beginning and just went on. So
We got a flippity floppity.
yeah.
Flippity floppity is highlighted on my board.
Flippity floppity flu.
Flippity flu.
Strike by Israel on Iran. You have 2 minutes.
So, Margaret, I want to answer the question. First of all, thanks, Governor. Thanks to CBS for hosting the debate. And thanks, most importantly, to the American people who are watching this
Fucking
evening
brown nose.
and caring enough about this country to pay attention to this vice presidential debate. I want to answer the question, but I want to actually give an introduction to myself a little
beard
bit because I
offends
recognize a lot of Americans don't know who either one of us
Answer
are.
the question.
I was raised
His
in a
mascara
working-class
offends
family.
me.
My mother required
Yep,
food assistance
there's
for
mascara
periods of her
there.
life. My
I
grandmother
think you'll
required
find
There we
it's
go.
still
Hold on,
just
hold on,
about
hold on.
to raise
Guy liner.
Hold on. We got
That's
you guys,
bingo.
yeah.
That's
Hold
another-
on.
That's another box.
Small town. He just said it.
Did he?
The
Okay.
eyeliner is present.
Yeah.
Guy liner. Guy liner.
Yeah, we heard you. It's just not funny.
No, you've got to be masculine about it, you know.
She raised me in part because my own mother struggled with addiction for a big chunk of my early life. I went to college.
God damn it! Why don't we put fentanyl on the fucking list? God, stupid boys.
On the GI Bill after I enlisted
It's
in
already
the
on
Marine
there.
Corps
Yep.
and served
Look
in
again,
Iraq.
it's
And so
there.
I stand here asking to be your vice president with extraordinary gratitude for this country,
You
for
didn't
the
ask
American
us.
dream that made it possible for me to live
Didn't
my
ask me.
dreams. And most importantly,
Is he gonna
I know
answer
that a
the
lot of
question?
you are worried
No.
about the
What
chaos in
question?
the world and the feeling
No,
that
no,
the
no,
American
question.
dream is
It's
unattainable.
flannel,
I wanna try to
flannel,
convince you tonight over the
flannel.
next 90 minutes
Next
that
question,
if we
please.
get better leadership in the White House, if we get Donald Trump back in the White House, the American dream is going to be attainable once
better
again.
leadership.
Now, to
Look
answer
at him,
this
he wants a
particular
nutting.
question, we
He wants
have
a
to
nutting.
remember that as much
Get
as
that
Governor
on.
Walz just
Oh,
accused
what?
Donald Trump of being
Nutting.
an agent of chaos, Donald Trump
That means a
actually
different thing in
delivered
America.
stability in the world, and he did it by establishing effective.
It's a different thing in English.
People were
Put
afraid
his
of
nut on
stepping
him,
out of
like-
line. Iran, which
That's
launched this
well-
attack, has received
Yeah,
over
that means a
$100
different thing in
billion
America, Wayne.
in unfrozen assets thanks
Well,
to the Kamala
sorry,
Harris
mate, you're talking to the,
administration.
mother
What do they
country.
use that money for? They use it to buy weapons that they're now launching against our allies, and God forbid, potentially launching against the United States as well. Donald Trump recognized that for people to fear the United States, you
Still waiting
needed
to answer
peace
the
through
question.
strength. They needed to recognize that if they
Peace
got
through
out of
strength.
line,
Ooh, those
the
are
United States global leadership would put
not great
stability
words.
and peace back in the world. Now, you asked about a preemptive strike,
Feels
Margaret,
like he's
and I
been
want to answer
talking
the
for 10
question.
minutes
Look,
already.
it is up to Israel what they think they need to do to keep their country safe, and we should support our allies wherever they are when they're fighting the bad guys. I think that's the right approach to take with the Israel question.
Thank you, Senator.
Israel
Governor
question.
Walz,
So
do you
blank
care to
check.
respond to any of
Got
the
it.
allegations?
Tiny,
Well,
yeah.
look, Donald
they
Trump
both
was
times
in
said
office.
that.
We'll sometimes hear a revisionist history,
Yeah, they're gonna try to out Zionist each other now. I'm gonna throw up for a second.
but when
Yeah,
Donald Trump was in
gross.
office, it was Donald Trump who we had a coalition of nations that had boxed Iran's nuclear program in, the inability to advance it. Donald Trump pulled that program and put nothing else in its place. So Iran is closer to a nuclear weapon than they were before because of Donald Trump's fickle leadership. And when Iran
exactly.
shot down an American aircraft in international airspace, Donald Trump tweeted, because that's the standard diplomacy of Donald Trump. And when Iranian missiles did fall near U.S. troops and they received traumatic brain injuries, Donald Trump wrote it off as headaches. Look, our allies understand that Donald Trump is
Get 'em.
fickle. He will go to whoever has the most flattery or where it makes sense to him. Steady leadership like you
Vance already
witnessed
has
today,
no
like
idea
you
how to
witnessed in
counter that.
April. Both
No.
Iranian attacks were repelled.
Just
Our
take a couple of
coalition is strong,
paracetamols and a
we need
Lemsip,
the
you'll be
steady
all right.
leadership that Kamala Harris is providing.
Senator Vance, the U.S. did have a diplomatic deal with Iran to temporarily pause parts of its nuclear program, and President Trump did exit that deal. he recently said, just 5 days ago, the U.S. must now make a diplomatic deal with Iran because the consequences are impossible.
Oh,
Did
shocking.
he make a mistake? You have 1 minute.
Well, first of all, Margaret, diplomacy is not a dirty word, but I think that's something that Governor Walz just said is quite extraordinary. You yourself just said Iran is as close to a nuclear weapon today as they have ever been.
Why, you dickhead? Why?
Who has been the vice president for the last 3.5 years? And the answer is your running mate, not mine. Donald Trump consistently made the world more secure. Now, we talk about
has no power.
The sequence of events that led us to where
She
we are
gets to
right
sit
now.
there and
you
nod.
can't.
That's her job.
She's a limp-wristed twat. That's it. Okay, yeah, all right, Gaffer. Yeah, I'll do what I'm told. Yeah, whatever. I've got the casting vote in the Senate. That's it. That's pretty much it.
And that's also a mark for couch sniffing the Messiah.
Ignore October the 7th, which I appreciate Governor Walz bringing up. But when did Iran and Hamas and their proxies attack Israel? It was during the administration of Kamala Harris. So Governor Walz can criticize Donald Trump's tweets, but effective, smart diplomacy and peace through strength is how you bring stability back to a very broken
There
world.
was conflict
Donald
during
Trump has
Trump's
already done it once
administration.
before.
Oh, yeah,
Ask yourself at home, when was the last time, I'm 40 years old, when was the last time that an American president didn't have a major conflict break out? The only answer is during the 4 years that Donald Trump was president.
Okay. Right. Pause it a minute. Pause it.
No. Shh. Wait till the break. Write it down in the chat. Wait till the break.
Nora?
Margaret, thank you. Let's turn now to Hurricane Helene. The storm could become one of the deadliest on record. More than 160 people are dead and hundreds more are missing. Scientists say climate change makes these hurricanes larger, stronger, and more deadly because of the historic rainfall.
They said the
Senator
energy
Van,
is something
according
like
to
27
CBS News
nukes from the
polling,
energy.
7 in 10 Americans and more than 60% of Republicans under the age of 45 favor the U.S. taking steps to try and reduce climate change. Senator, what responsibility would the Trump administration have to try and reduce the impact of climate change? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Sure. So first of all,
Drill,
let's
baby,
start
drill.
with the hurricane because it's an unbelievable, unspeakable human tragedy. I just saw today actually a photograph of 2 grandparents on a roof with a 6-year-old child, and it was the last photograph ever taken of them because the roof collapsed and those innocent people lost their lives. And I'm sure Governor Walz joins me in saying our hearts go out to those innocent people, our prayers go out to them, and we want as robust and aggressive as a federal response as we can get to save as many lives as possible, and then of course afterwards to help the people in
What happened to the states taking care of themselves?
that I love. Some of them I know very personally in Appalachia, all across the Southeast. They need their government to do their job, and I commit that when Donald Trump is president again, the government will put the citizens of this country first when they suffer from a disaster. Now, Nora, you asked about climate change. I think this is a very important issue. A lot of people are justifiably worried about all these crazy weather patterns. I think it's important for us, first of all, to say Donald Trump and I support clean air, clean water. We want the environment to be cleaner and safer. But one of the things that I've noticed some of our Democratic friends talk a lot about is a concern about carbon emissions. This idea that carbon emissions drives all of the climate change. Well, let's just say that's
Yes,
true.
because it's proven, you
We're not
fucking
arguing about
prick.
weird science. Let's just say that's true. Well, if you believe that,
If.
what would you want to do? The answer is that you'd want to reshore as much American manufacturing as possible. and
Ooh,
you'd want to
Tim.
produce as
Tim.
much energy as possible in the
For the
United
fucking
States
win.
of America because we're the cleanest economy
Nailed
in the
it.
entire world. What has
Not
Kamala
even on a
Harris's
jobs
policies
question.
actually led to? More energy production in China.
You wasted
more
that one. You
manufacturing
pulled early.
overseas, more doing business in
He
some
jumped
of the
the- he
dirtiest
jumped the
parts
whistle.
of the entire world. And when I say that, I mean the amount of carbon emissions they're doing per unit of economic output. So if we actually care about getting cleaner air and cleaner water, the best thing to do is to double down and invest in American
Flint,
workers
Michigan.
and the American people. And unfortunately, Kamala Harris has done exactly the opposite.
Governor Walz, you have 2 minutes to respond.
Well, we got close to an agreement because all those things are happening. Look, first of all, it is a horrific tragedy with this hurricane, and my heart goes out to the folks that are down there in contact with the governors. I serve as co-chair of the Council of Governors as we work together on these emergency managements. Governors know no partisanship. They work together to
Little
solve
stumble,
the
caught
governors
himself.
and the emergency responders are on the ground. Those happen on the front end. the
Kept it
federal
moving.
government comes in, make sure they're there to that we recover. But we're still in that phase where we need to make sure that they're staying there, staying focused. Now, look, coming back to the climate change issue, there's no doubt this thing roared onto the scene faster and stronger than anything we've seen. Senator Vance has said that there's a climate problem in the past. Donald Trump called it a hoax and then joked that these things would make more beachfront property to be able to invest in. What we've seen out of the Harris administration now, the Biden-Harris administration, is we've seen this investment. We've seen massive investments, the biggest in global history that we've seen in the Inflation Reduction Act, has created jobs all across the country. 2,000 in Jeffersonville, Ohio, taking the
Ooh, your
technologies we
district,
invented
son.
and making it here. 200,000 jobs
Take
across
credit
the country.
for
The
Democratic
largest solar
policy.
manufacturing plant in North America sits in Minnesota. But my farmers know climate change is real. They've seen 500-year droughts, 500-year floods back to back. But what they're doing is adapting, and this has allowed them to tell me, look, I harvest corn, I harvest soybean, and I harvest wind. We are producing more natural gas and more oil at any time than we ever have. We're also producing more clean energy. So the solution for us is to continue to move forward, that climate change is real. Reducing our impact is absolutely critical, but this is not a false choice. You can do that at the same time you're creating the jobs that we're seeing all across the country. That's exactly what this administration has done. We are seeing us becoming an energy superpower for the future, not just the current. And that's what absolutely makes sense. And then we start thinking about how do we mitigate these disasters.
Thank you. Senator, I want to give you
A
an
pretty
opportunity
centrist
to respond
answer.
there. The governor
Yeah.
mentioned
It
that
was.
President Trump
But it
has
was also
called climate
coherent.
change a hoax.
So-
Do you agree?
Well, look, what the president has said is that if the Democrats, in particular Kamala Harris and her leadership, if they really believe that climate change is serious, what they would be doing is
numbnut.
more manufacturing
Biden's
and more energy
president.
production in the United States of America, and that's not what they're doing. So clearly,
tell him.
Kamala Harris herself
I
doesn't
just
believe
want to
her
grab this
rhetoric on
geezer
this.
by
If
the
she
ears
did,
and
she would
shake him
actually
and
agree with
say,
Donald Trump's energy
Joe
policies. Now,
Biden is in
something
charge
that
right
Governor
now.
Walz said, I
You
think it's
prick.
important to touch upon, because when we
add a
talk about
square
clean
for,
energy, I think that's a slogan
Governor
that
Walz where he
often
tells
the Democrats
Vance
will
that
use
Biden
here.
is still
I'm talking,
president?
of course, about the Democratic
Yes.
leadership.
Please,
And the
can
real
we
issue
do
is
that?
that if you're spending
All right.
hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars
So
of
I think that's
American
gonna
taxpayer
happen.
money
He's waiting to unload
on
that
solar
shit.
panels that are made in China, number one, you're going to make the economy dirtier. We should be making more of those solar panels here in the United
are,
States of
Minnesota.
America. Some of them are, Tim, but a lot of them are being made overseas in China, especially the components that go into those solar panels. So if you really want to make the environment
Right.
cleaner, you
Yo.
have to invest in more
me-
energy production.
pause
We haven't
it,
built a
pause it.
nuclear
No,
facility, I think, one
Wayne,
in
no
the past 40
pausing.
years.
This happened
Except
last
for
time,
gas,
and we
we've gotta
took
invest more in
5
that. Kamala
hours.
Harris
It's
has
not
done the opposite.
happening.
That's raised
They're gonna
energy
take a break
prices
soon.
and also
Man.
meant that
Write
we're
it
doing
down.
Governor,
things by
your
the
time
climate.
is up. Governor, would you like to respond?
Well, look, we're producing more natural gas than we ever have. There's no moratorium on that.
I'll
We're
say.
producing more oil.
I'm helping.
Folks know, and like I said again,
From farts.
these are not liberal folks. These are not folks that are Green New Deal
yeah, we
folks.
got
These
it.
are farmers that have been drought one year, massive flooding the next year. They understand that it makes sense. Look, our number one export cannot be topsoil from erosion from these massive storms. We saw it in Minnesota this summer.
Good one.
And thinking about how do we respond to that, we're thinking ahead on this. And what Kamala Harris has been able to do in Minnesota, we're starting to weatherproof some of these things. The infrastructure law that was passed allows us to think about mitigation
Southern
in
Canada.
the future. How do we make sure that we're protecting by burying our power lines? How do we make sure that we're protecting lakefronts and things that we're seeing more and more of? But to call it a hoax and to take the oil company executives to Mar-a-Lago, say, give me money for my campaign and I'll let you do whatever you want. We can be smarter about that, and an all-above energy policy is exactly what she's doing, creating those jobs right here.
Governor, your time is up. The overwhelming consensus among scientists is that the Earth's climate is warming at an unprecedented rate. Margaret?
Thank you, Nora. We're going to turn now to immigration. The crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border
Here
consistently
we go.
ranks as one of the top issues for American voters. Senator
No worries
Vance,
about the Canadians
your
coming down,
campaign
though, do
is
they?
pledging to carry out the
gonna be a
largest
few
mass
squares
deportation
checked off.
plan in American history.
They're gonna
and
out-Republican
to use
each other.
the U.S. military to
Yeah.
do so.
Watch out
Could
for
you
them
be
brown
more
folk.
specific about exactly how this will work? For example, would you deport parents who have entered the U.S. illegally and separate them
Yes.
from any of their children who were
Yep.
born on U.S. soil? You have 2
Absolutely.
minutes.
So first of all, Margaret, before we talk about deportations,
No.
we have to stop the bleeding. We have a historic immigration crisis because Kamala Harris started and said that she wanted to undo all of Donald Trump's border policies. 94 executive
immigrants,
orders suspending
work jobs.
deportations, decriminalizing
Yeah, right.
illegal aliens,
Schrodinger's
massively
immigrant.
increasing the asylum that exists in our system. That has opened the
Taking your
floodgates.
job,
What it's meant
taking
is
your
that a lot of
benefits at the
fentanyl
same
is
time.
coming into our country.
Cunts.
I had a mother who
That's
struggled
all
with
star
opioid
right
addiction
there.
and has gotten clean. I don't want people who are struggling with addiction to be deprived of their second chance because Kamala Harris let in
What
fentanyl
is he
into
I
our
missed
communities
something.
at record
They're
levels.
bringing
So you've gotta
fentanyl.
stop the
Oh, I
bleeding.
see.
You've got to re-implement Donald Trump's border
Fucking
policies,
word
build
salad
the wall,
bullshit.
re-implement deportations, and that gets me to your point, Margaret, about what do we actually
Oh,
do?
thank God.
So we've got 20,
cheers.
25 million illegal aliens who are here in the country. What do we do with them? I think the first thing that we do is we start with the criminal migrants. About 1 million of those people have committed some
criminal
form of crime
migrant
in addition to
crime.
crossing the border
How the
illegally.
hell do you know
I think
that?
You start with deportation.
clearly haven't caught him.
Taking that bingo spot,
And then I think you make it
exaggerated
harder
numbers
for
around
illegal aliens
immigration.
to undercut the wages.
How
of
do you know he
American
committed
workers.
crime?
A lot of people will go home if they can't work for less than minimum wage in our own country. And by the way, that'll be really good for our workers who just want to earn a fair wage for doing a good day's work. And the final point, Margaret, is you ask about family separation. Right now in this country, Margaret, we have 320,000 children that the Department of Homeland Security has effectively lost. Some of them have been sex trafficked. Some of them hopefully are at homes with their families. Some of them have been used as drug trafficking.
getting
units.
those numbers,
The
Fred?
real
Wow,
family
it's almost like you
separation
shouldn't have
policy in this
separated
country
them.
Is unfortunately
right.
Kamala Harris's
So-
wide
so
open
just
southern
plucking
border.
numbers out of the
And I'd
sky.
ask my fellow Americans to remember when
that-
she
I think we
came
did
into
that.
office, she said she was going to do
Emma
this.
Fulgari,
you know,
Real
6
leadership would be
trillion
saying, you know
immigrants
what,
came
I
across the
screwed
border
up. We're going
yesterday.
to go back to Donald Trump's
6
border
trillion.
policies. I wish
I
that she would do that.
100%
It would
called
be good
that
for
one.
all of us.
That was one of the first things I said he was going
Governor,
to say.
Do you care to
The
respond to
entire
any
Earth
specific
landed at the
allegations,
southern
including
border.
that the vice president is,
gotta
quote,
be honest
letting
about it.
in fentanyl?
China just
and
came
using
through El
kids
Paso.
as drug mules, among other things, hurting children.
The drug mule is not true, but I will say about this, about the fentanyl, because this is a crisis of this, the opioid crisis. And the good news on this is the last 12 months saw the largest decrease in opioid deaths in our nation's history. 30% decrease in
Big
Ohio,
pharma.
but there's still more work to do. But let's go back to this on immigration. Kamala Harris was the
That's
Attorney General
inconvenient.
of the largest state and a border state in California. She's the only person in this race who prosecuted transnational gangs for human trafficking and drug interventions. But look, we all want to solve
Oops.
this. Most of us want to solve this. And that is the United States Congress. That's the Border Patrol agents. That's the Chamber of Commerce. That's most Americans out here. That's why we had the fairest and the toughest bill on immigration that this nation's seen.
Yeah.
It was
Wow.
drafted by a conservative senator
This is a
from
senator,
Oklahoma,
too.
James
Get 'em.
Lankford. I know him. He's super conservative, but he's a man of principle, wants to get it done. Democrats and Republicans worked on this piece of legislation. The Border Patrol said, this is what we need in here. These are the experts.
I'm gonna put it on
And
this
the Chamber
torpedo.
of Commerce and the Wall Street Journal said, pass this thing. Kamala Harris helped get there.
Load all 6
1,500
forward
new border
torpedoes.
agents.
Yep.
Detection for drugs. DOJ
All
money to speed
torpedoes.
up these
Surface,
the
man, the
adjudications
deck
on this,
gun.
just what America wants. But as soon as I was getting
Periscope.
ready to pass and actually tackle this, Donald Trump said no. Told them to vote against it because it gives him a campaign
We're in
issue.
range.
It gives him to, what would Donald Trump talk about if we actually did some of these things? And they need to be done by the legislature. You can't just do this through the executive branch. So look, we have the options to do this. Donald Trump had 4 years. He had 4 years to do this. And he promised you, America, how easy it would be. I'll build you a big, beautiful wall.
Border
and
wall,
Mexico
there we
will pay
go.
for it. Less than 2% of that wall got built, and Mexico didn't pay a dime. But here we are again, 9 years after he came
In the
down
words of
that
Vicente
escalator,
Fox, I'm not going to pay for that fucking wall.
people and telling him what he was going to do. As far as the deportation
gonna
plan,
build
at
it
one
either.
point, Senator Vance said it was so unworkable to be laughable.
Well, if you pay them
so
enough, they
that's
will.
where we're at. Pass the bill, she'll sign it.
Governor, your time is up. Senator, the question was, will you separate parents from their children, even if their kids are U.S. citizens? You have 1 minute.
Margaret, my point is that we already have massive child separations thanks to Kamala Harris's open border. I didn't
dodged the
accuse
question.
Kamala Harris of inviting drug
Let's-
mules.
let's-
I
let's-
said
let's
that
ask-
she enabled
let's
the
ask a
Mexican
question,
drug cartels
answer a
to
question that
operate
was not
freely in
asked.
this country, and we know
Dive,
that they
duck,
use children as
dip,
drug mules,
dive,
and
and
it is a
dodge.
disgrace. and it has to
We
stop.
know.
Look, I
Turn
think
his
what
mic
Tim
off
said just
and
doesn't
say,
pass
answer
the
the
smell
question.
test. For 3
The
years,
moderator will
Kamala
note
Harris
that
went
JD
out
refused to
bragging
answer the
that she
question.
was going to undo Donald Trump's
Yes,
border
that
policy.
should be the
She
response.
did exactly that.
Yeah.
We had a record number of
Is this
illegal
high red or
crossings.
pink?
We had a record number of fentanyl coming into our country, and now,
gonna say
now
pink.
that she's running for
I
president,
would say
2 months
magenta.
before,
Magenta.
she says that
Yeah, that's a
somehow
T-Mobile
she got
tie.
religion and cared a lot
That is a
about a piece of
T-Mobile tie.
legislation. The only thing that she did when she became the vice president, when she became the
kids
appointed
separated
border czar, was to
parents.
undo
Answer.
94 Donald Trump executive actions that opened the border. This problem is leading to massive problems
you know
in the
what?
United States of America.
All these
Parents who can't
moderators
afford
need to be
healthcare, schools that are
able to step
overwhelmed.
in and say,
It's
"Answer
got
the
to
fucking
stop, and it
question
will
that
when
I
Donald
asked."
Trump is president again.
Senator, your time is up. Governor, what about our CBS
I'm just looking
News
at the chat.
polling,
I'm not
which
being
does
rude.
show that a majority of Americans, more than 50%,
being rude.
support
It's
mass
the chat.
deportations.
Look, we fix this
Mikey
issue
hates
with a bill
politics.
that is necessary, but the issue
Dot
on this is what happens when you don't want to solve it. You demonize it. And we saw this. And Senator Vance, and it surprises me on this, talking about and saying, I will create stories to bring attention to this.
Ooh.
That vilified a large number of people who were here legally in the community of Springfield.
There
the
it is.
Republican governor
There you go.
said, it's not true. Don't do it. There's consequences for this. There's consequences. We could come together. Senator Langford
bomb
did it.
threats.
We could come together
Yeah.
and solve this.
Like
if
every
we didn't
municipal
let
building
Donald
had
Trump
bomb
continue
threats.
to make it an issue. And
The governor had to
consequences
send
on
state
Springfield
troopers
were
to protect
the governor had
everything.
to send state law enforcement to escort kindergartners
There
to
you go.
school. I
There it
believe
is.
Senator
Just like
Vance
the
wants to
50s.
solve this.
They're
but by
making America
standing
great
with Donald
again.
Trump and
Yeah.
not working together.
State
to find a
Patrol
solution,
taking the black
it
kids to
becomes a
school
talking
again.
point. And when it becomes a talking point like this, we dehumanize and villainize other human beings.
Tim,
Governor, your time is up. Senator, I'll give you 1 minute, but let me just ask you the question
Okay.
first.
Go ahead.
The
Ask it,
governor
girl.
has made the point, and I think as a sitting lawmaker, you know that Congress controls the purse strings and any funding. So you have said repeatedly that Donald Trump would, through executive action, solve this. Do you disagree that Congress controls the purse strings and we need to support?
Do you
many
not
of the
understand
changes
how
that
this
you would
works?
Actually want
Do
to
you
implement?
do you disagree with
First of all,
yourself?
the gross majority of what
Please
we
write
need to
an
do at
essay
the
on how
southern
the
border
government
is just
works.
empowering law enforcement to do their job. I've been to
Did
the
you
southern
take
border
civics?
more than our borders are.
No.
Kamala Harris has been.
Clearly
And
not,
it's actually heartbreaking because the Border Patrol agents, they just want to be empowered to do their job. Of course, additional
They
resources
literally
would help,
tried and your
but most of
fucking
this is
daddy
about the
said
president
no.
and the vice president
Yep.
empowering our law enforcement to say, if you try to come across the border illegally, you've got to stay in Mexico, you've got to go back through proper channels. Now, Governor Walz brought up the community of Springfield, and he's very worried about the things that
Ooh.
I've said in Springfield. Look, in Springfield, Ohio,
What'd you say,
and
Muffin?
communities all across this country,
I'll
you've
get
got
you.
schools that are overwhelmed, you've got hospitals that are overwhelmed, you've got
Because of
housing
you,
that
dumb
is
fuck.
totally unaffordable because we brought in millions of illegal immigrants to
hate you.
compete with Americans for scarce
They're not
homes.
illegal.
The people that I'm most worried
Yeah, they're
about
here
in
legal.
Springfield, Ohio,
right.
are the American citizens who have had their lives destroyed by Kamala Harris's
If I was up there,
open
I'd be
border.
like,
It is a
stop lying
disgrace,
about their
Tim.
legal
And I
status.
actually think,
Right.
I
Yeah,
agree with
he's
you. I
no
think you want
one-
to solve this problem,
Hello,
but I
Swede.
don't think that Kamala
Lovely
Harris
to see
does.
you, mate.
Senator, your time is up. Governor, you have 1 minute to respond.
Yeah,
There is no one who is
it law
illegal.
enforcement
No
that asked
one.
for the bill. They
Well,
helped
you are,
craft
Wayne.
it. They're the ones that
Yeah.
supported it.
Shut
It
your
was
filthy
that because
fucking
they know
American
we
mouth.
need to do this.
I would
This
would
issue
literally
of
turn my
continuing
head,
to
look at
bring
him, and
this
go,
up,
"Stop
of
lying
not
about their
dealing with it,
status,
of blaming
legality
migrants
status."
for everything.
Every
On
Haitian in
housing, we
Springfield's
could talk
legal.
a little bit about Wall
Exactly.
Street speculators buying up housing
Exactly.
and making them less affordable. But it becomes a blame. Look, this bill also
Stop spreading
gives the money
neo-Nazi
necessary
blood
to
tribe
adjudicate.
rumors about
I
Yeah.
agree. It should not take 7 years for an asylum
fuck.
claim to be done. This
There
bill
you
gets
Exactly.
in 90 days.
You're-
Then you start to make a
You're
difference
a-
in this,
you're a
and you start to
freaking
adhere to what
neo-Nazi
we know, American
shill.
principles. Look, I don't talk about
He's
my
a
faith
neo-Nazi
lot,
wannabe.
but Matthew 25:40 talks
They wouldn't
about
even.
You know,
They
him
don't want
spreading
him.
the
They don't
rumors
actually
doesn't-
want
to me,
him.
I think
One-liners.
most Americans,
Him spreading the
they
rumors
simply
doesn't
want
necessarily
order to it.
mean
This
that
bill
he
does
is
it.
a neo-Nazi,
It's
but
funded.
it
It's
certainly
supported by the
means
people who
that
do it,
he
and
it
lets
doesn't
us keep our
disqualify
dignity
the rumor
about how
from
we
being
treat
spread
other
through his
people.
mouth.
Thank you, Governor. And just
One-liners.
to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Springfield, Ohio, does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status.
There you go.
Temporary protected
There it is.
status.
Margaret, but
Thank you, Senator. We have so much to get to.
Turn his mic off. Turn him off.
Senator, kindly
you
Bye.
fact check. And
Bye,
since
love.
you're fact checking
Bye.
me, I think it's important to say
No,
what's
turn 'em
actually
off.
going on.
Turn 'em off.
Application called the
Why are you giving him a
CBP, where you can go on
Turn
as
'em
an
off.
illegal migrant,
Fact-checking
apply
him
for
would be
asylum
awesome.
or apply for parole, and be granted
be-
legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wand. That
Oh,
is not
shut
a
up.
person
Fuck
coming
you.
and applying
It
for
doesn't
a
even
green
make
card and
sense.
waiting for 10 years. That
Thank
is
you,
the
Senator.
facilitation of illegal
Yeah,
immigration.
turn it off. Turn it off.
Thank
turn
you,
it off.
Senator, for
Leadership.
describing
you
the
gotta
legal
give- you gotta
process.
give Waltz a
We
chance
have
to
so
respond to
much
that
to get
BS.
to,
Yeah,
Senator.
now you got to let him
We
go.
have so
been on
much.
the books since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
There you go.
Cloud app has not been on the books.
This is what fucking irks me so much, right? No
Gentlemen,
human is
One-liner.
illegal.
Can't
One-liner.
hear you because your mics are cut. We have so
There we
much we
go.
want to get to.
I'm gonna cut
Thank you
y'all
for
too.
explaining the
I like how
legal
they operate.
process. Nora.
They have
Thank you,
a
Margaret.
hook
The
electrodes.
economy is a top concern
If they go
for
over the
voters.
time.
Each of your
No
campaigns has released an
human
economic
is
plan. So let's talk
illegal.
about the specifics.
No human is
Governor
illegal.
Walz
We
Have
heard you the
right-
first
unveiled
8
a plan
times.
that includes billions in tax credits
Okay, well, let
for
me fucking
manufacturing,
finish then, Mike.
housing, and
Go ahead.
Right. So if you rock up to whatever country and you claim asylum and your asylum is declined, that's when you become illegal. But every single law above the land says that you can claim asylum wherever you claim asylum. So you are a human. It's only when your asylum is dismissed, that's when you become illegal.
Wayne,
That's
I like where you're going. However, if you enter a country and you don't claim asylum and you don't have any papers to enter that country, then you are illegal.
Yes, because you're not claiming asylum.
Well, right, but you said no humans are illegal. But according to now, this is America's laws. If you enter the country without any sort of legal status, then you are illegal.
No, you're
But not
still
a criminal.
But yeah, you're not a criminal. But
That
under
border
the
belt would've
country's
made him a criminal.
laws, if you are caught by ICE or Border Patrol or whatever it is, then you can be deported for entering the country illegally. And if you don't claim asylum status, then you're just here illegally. Like that, those are the laws.
Not necessarily, because if someone was to sort of say, I'm going to deport you to where? Okay, I've got nothing on me, i.e., I've got no papers. Where are you going to deport me to?
They're going to ask you what country you come from, and they're going to put you back.
Hawaii.
They're just gonna send you there.
I'm from Hawaii.
Yeah.
Hawaii's not a country.
But if you're,
Shit.
but I mean, if you're
Madagascar.
from Hawaii,
Madagascar. Ooh, the
but
Seychelles.
if you don't have documentation, they will hold you in
from-
prison until you
I'm from
until
Cayman Islands.
I'm from the Maldives.
if you
Damn,
don't,
we want to go to Ireland, right?
yeah,
Just saying.
yeah. You
What
know,
if
maybe
we all-
we should go to Wayne's country illegally and see what happens.
Oh no, trust me, brother. There's geezers on the south coast.
Are you guys done stroking yourselves? We have a debate to watch. Thank you.
renewed child tax credit. The Wharton School says your proposals will increase the nation's deficit by $1.2 trillion. How would you pay for that without ballooning the deficit? Governor, I'll give you 2 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. And Kamala Harris and I do believe in the middle class because that's where we come from. We both grew up in that. We understand. So those of you out there listening tonight, you're hearing a lot of stuff back and
Middle
forth,
class.
and it's good. It's healthy. That's what this is supposed to
We're
happen.
not.
You should be listening. How's this going to impact me? The bold forward plan that Kamala Harris put out there is talking about this housing issue. The one thing is there's 3 million new houses proposed under this plan with down payment assistance on the front end to get you in a house. A house is much more than just an asset to be traded somewhere. It's foundational to where you're at. And then making sure that the things you buy every day, whether they be prescription drugs or other things, that there's fairness.
Other
in that.
drugs.
Look, the $35
Or,
insulin is a good thing.
non-prescription
but it
drugs.
costs $5 to make insulin. They were charging $800
Fun
before this
drugs.
law went into effect. As far as the housing goes, I've seen it in Minnesota. 12% more houses in Minneapolis, prices went down on rent 4%. It's working. And then making sure tax cuts go to the middle class. $6,000 child tax credit, we have one in Minnesota, reduces childhood poverty by 1/3. We save money in the long run, and we do the right thing for families. And then
That
getting
counts as
businesses
breakfast
off
for the
ground.
kids.
The law as it stands right now is $5,000 tax credit for small business, increasing that to $50,000. Now, this is a philosophical difference between us. Donald Trump made a promise, and I'll give you this. He kept it. He took folks to Mar-a-Lago, said, you're rich as hell, I'm going to give you a tax cut. He gave the tax cuts that predominantly went to the top class. What happened there was an $8 trillion increase in the national debt, the largest ever. Now he's proposing a 20% consumption or sales tax on everything we bring in. Everyone agrees, including businesses, it would be destabilizing it. It would increase inflation.
Swede, write that down. We're going to talk about that at the break.
Look, this
a
is
20% VAT tax. Holy shit!
Kamala Harris is said to do the things she wants to do. We'll just ask the wealthiest to pay their fair share.
I think he meant the tariffs that he's planning on doing.
20% is VAT over here standard.
Things that they need.
Senator, I want to give you a moment to respond on that. But similarly, the Wharton School has done an analysis.
But you guys have weight for money, so who knows what that actually converts to.
The nation's deficit by $5.8 trillion. My question is the same for you.
Have to pay in time or something.
No, but the thing is, VAT is like
you're going to hear
so
a lot
subjective.
from Tim Walz this evening, and you just heard it in the answer. A lot of what Kamala Harris proposes to do, and some of it, I'll be honest with you, it even sounds pretty good. Here's what you won't hear: is that Kamala Harris has already done it because she's been the vice president for 3.5 years.
He conceded.
J.D. Vance is voting
all
for
of these
Harris.
great
He gave up.
policies, and what she's actually done instead is drive the cost of food higher by 25%, drive the cost of housing higher by about 60%. Open the American
Eggs are
southern border
$85
and
a
make
dozen.
middle-class life
right.
As he
unaffordable
holds
for a
6
large
dozen
number
in
of
one
Americans.
box
If
in his
Kamala Harris
hand.
has such
right.
great plans
And the sign
for how to
behind him
address
says
the world's
$2.99.
problems, then she ought to do them now. Not when asking for a promotion, but in the job the American people gave her 3.5 years ago. And the fact that she isn't
President
tells you a
doesn't
lot
do
about
anything.
how much you can trust her actual plans.
no policy
now, Donald
decisions.
Trump's economic plan is not just a plan, but it's also
Have you
a
noticed
record.
that
A lot of those
your
same
man
economists
who's
attack
on
Donald
Trump's
Trump's
side is
plans, and they have PhDs, but they
mimicking
don't have
his
common sense and they don't have wisdom. Because
mannerisms
Donald Trump's
with his
economic
hands.
policies delivered the
That's
highest
his new daddy.
take-home pay in a generation in this
He
country.
gets to
Daddy
sleep.
doesn't love him.
He gets to sleep on a pillow next to
And
Trump's
boot,
bed.
Peace and security all over the
At the
world.
foot of
So when
Trump's
people
bed.
say that
Fucking
Donald
reek
Trump's
over
economic
here.
plan doesn't make
But the
sense,
thing is,
I
that's
say look
really
at the
obvious.
record.
Really,
He delivered
really
rising
obvious.
take-home pay for American workers.
20%.
Tim admirably admits that they want to
not
undo
gonna
the
do the
Trump tax
prices.
cuts. But if you look at what was so
Gonna
different
raise
about
them.
Donald Trump's tax cuts, even from
almost like
previous
corporations
Republican tax
won't
cut
pass
plans,
that
is that a
on
lot of those
to the
resources
consumer
went
immediately.
to giving more
Yeah, they're
take-home
not
pay
paying
to
that.
middle-class and working-class Americans.
Tim, you
It
ain't
was
paying that
passed
on a
in
sandwich.
2017, and you saw an
The customer's
American
paying that
economic
shit.
boom unlike
Oh,
we've
yeah, that's the
seen
customer,
in a
but-
generation in this
Right.
country. That is a record that I'm proud to run on, and we're going to get back to that common sense wisdom so that you can afford to live the American dream again. I know a lot of you are struggling.
Trump
I know a
and
lot of you are
common
worried
sense.
about paying the bills. It's going to stop when Donald Trump
I know
brings
those
back
together.
common sense to this
I know
country.
this
Governor,
is
do you want to
like kind of
respond to that?
psycho
What has Kamala Harris done for the
analysing,
middle
but
class?
Well, Kamala
he's
Harris's day
using,
one
like, when he's
was
talking
Donald
about
Trump's
everyone, he's
failure on
using
COVID
both
that led
hands.
to the collapse
And
of
when
our
he's talking
economy.
about
We were already
privilege,
before
he's using
COVID
his
in
right
a
hand, his
manufacturing
dominant
recession,
hand.
but 10 million people out of work.
Really,
largest percentage
really telling.
Since the Great
Really
Depression.
telling.
9 million jobs closed on that. That was day one. Whether it was the Infrastructure Act, or
Single
other things we
sentence
moved. Now,
answers
you
only.
made a question about experts. Said this. I've made a note of this. Economists can't be trusted. Science can't be trusted. National security folks
fuck
can't
science.
be trusted. Look, if you're going to be president, you don't have all the answers. Donald Trump believes he does. My pro tip of the day
Fuck
is
trust.
this. If you need heart surgery,
He said pro
listen
tip.
to the people at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, not Donald
Just the
Trump.
tip.
And the same thing
the
goes
tip.
with this. And I ask you out there, teachers, nurses, truck drivers, or whatever, how is it fair that you're paying your taxes every year and Donald Trump hasn't paid any federal tax in the last 15 years? In the last year as president.
Because he keeps losing
That's what's
money.
wrong with the system.
J.D.
There's
Vance
a
is
way
like this
around
fucking
it.
guy.
He's
If-
bragged about that. We're just asking for fairness
2
in it,
seconds,
and that's
Mikey.
all you want.
You have a minute.
Oh, I'm on the
Governor,
wrong
you say
screen.
trust.
Yes.
All you have to do is say, well, Trump doesn't pay any taxes, and everybody says that's not fair. Well, that's because he loses money every year.
Yeah,
He
that's
can't make
true.
money.
Yeah.
He
If
also
your
really
business
bad at it.
loses, your business loses money, you don't pay taxes. So him bragging about not paying taxes means he's not making any money, and he's not a very good businessman.
He also
Exactly.
just lost a court case in the last year or two about
Yeah.
that very thing, him inflating and deflating
You
his assets.
got to keep this more simple, Tim.
Okay.
Business makes money, pay tax.
Trump
He doesn't
pretend-
make money, doesn't pay tax.
No pay tax.
Trump pretended his stuff was worth more than it was, And then when it came to time to pay the tax bills, he pretended it was worth less than it was.
Well, that and he defrauded
Mondo,
banks
shiny.
based on the loan to value.
Yes.
He's just
Fuck Trump.
he's just honest, you fucking liberals.
The experts. But those same experts for 40 years said that if we shipped our manufacturing base off to China, we'd get cheaper goods. They lied about that. They said if we shipped our industrial base off to other countries, to Mexico and elsewhere, it would make the middle class
It
stronger.
was his party that did that. It was his party that did that.
About the idea
It
that
is
we made
also
America
cheaper.
less self-reliant, less
I'm all the way over here, and I know that.
it would
Fuck you,
somehow
shit.
make us better off, and
Fuck
they were
off.
wrong about it. And for the first
I like
time
how
in a
the appeal
generation,
to
Donald
common
Trump
sense
had
was
the
used, too,
wisdom
same
and the
time.
courage to say to that
We're
bipartisan
going to get back to
consensus,
common
we're
sense.
not
Dude,
doing
have
it
you
anymore.
taken
We're bringing
Econ
American
301?
manufacturing back. We're unleashing American energy.
Nobody got that tie at
More of our own
Kohl's.
stuff. And this isn't
They
just an
took the
economic
drugs.
issue.
Is that the common sense
beautiful little
economy
kids at home,
class?
7,
Is that
4, and
macro
2.
or
I
micro?
love them very much, and I hope they're in bed right now.
Most of it
But
is
look,
micro.
So many of the drugs, the
Micro
pharmaceuticals
common
that we
sense.
put in the bodies of our children are
Macro
manufactured by
really
nations that
doesn't
hate
hit
us.
you until the
This
400
has
level.
to stop, and we're
I'm-
not
I'm
going to stop.
sorry.
by
They
listening
took
to
McDonald's
experts. We're going
101.
to stop it by listening to common
I
sense
would
wisdom,
be in the
which is
pub
what Donald Trump
overhearing this
governed us.
conversation, and I'd have to chin the geezer.
Voters say they trust Donald Trump.
Stop advocating violence.
If you're
Oh,
listening
no,
tonight
just-
and
he's
you
so-
want
he's
billionaires
talking
to get
shit.
tax cuts, you heard
Wayne
what the
says he
numbers
wanted
were.
to touch the man's chin,
look,
not hit him.
I'm a union
Jeez.
guy on this. I'm
Just
not
you
a
just
guy who
have
wanted
to
ship
ask it
things
at what
overseas,
speed
but I understand
he
that.
wants
Look,
to touch the
we
man's
produce
chin.
soybeans
He
and
wants to
corn. We need
caress
have
his
fair
chin.
trading markets.
3%
That's
the speed of
something
light.
I think the thing that most concerns me on this is
Detonate him like a supernova.
who created the largest trade
red
deficit in
mist
American
for
history with China.
president.
So the rhetoric is good. Much of what the senator said right there, I'm in agreement with him on this. I watched it happen too. I watched it to my communities, and we talked about that. But we had people undercutting the right to collectively bargain. We had
Yep.
right to work states made it more difficult.
JD
We had
Vance.
companies that were willing to ship it over, and we saw people profit. Folks that are
You had
venture capital in
Kroger's
some cases,
CEO
putting
come
money
out and
into
say,
companies
"Yeah,
from
we raised
overseas.
prices."
We're in agreement that we bring those home.
And we had no
The issue
reason
is
to.
Donald Trump is
He just took a, he just took a shot at the venture capitalists.
250,000
I wonder if there's any venture capitalists on the
just
stage.
in out of the IRA.
Yes.
So,
Wonder if there's any in
appreciate
these
that.
pictures up
If you
above.
notice,
Oh,
what
shit.
Governor Walz just did is he said, first of all, Donald Trump has to listen to the experts. And then when he acknowledged that the experts screwed up, he said, well, Donald Trump didn't do nearly as good of a job as the statistics
that's a
show
gross
that he
generalization.
did. So what Tim Walz is doing, and I honestly, Tim, I think you got a tough job here because you've got to play whack-a-mole. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver rising take-home pay, which
JD
of course
Vance
he
thinks
did.
he has
You've got to
him.
pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver
He's delusional.
lower inflation, which of course he did. And then you've simultaneously got to defend Kamala Harris's atrocious economic record, which has made gas, groceries, and housing unaffordable for American
Biden
citizens.
is
I was raised by a
fucking
woman who would
president.
sometimes go into medical debt so that she could put food
Can
on
I
the table in our
add one bit of
household.
context
I
to gas
know what it's
prices? So in 2020, obviously people stopped driving. I mean, that's kind of a known, you know,
Yeah.
go look at some pictures of Los Angeles during May of 2020. The other thing was is in 2019, two countries, Russia and Saudi Arabia, you can look this up, there's a whole wiki article on this, declared war on each other with oil production. What does that do when two of the largest producers in the world produce nearly twice what they normally do to the world market?
Sounds
It's
like
almost like there's more supply.
sounds like there would be more supply.
And all of a sudden, demand sharply falls off in 2020. What do you think happens?
Oh,
Co-
I know this one.
Tim,
I know this one.
Tim, answer.
Communism.
For momentarily, the price of gas went negative $36.
Yeah.
Shame.
No,
2 days.
that is
2 days.
that is not what happened.
Oil went negative.
Under the Biden administration.
Under the Trump administration, who was president during this.
Swede, I'm disgusted with you, like providing these facts.
Filthy facts.
It's disgusting.
It's stinking up the place.
All we have to do right
We're in the
now
middle
is
of a debate.
convince
What are we
the
doing with
Saudis
facts?
and the Russians. All we have to do is convince two major oil-producing countries to declare war on each other with oil production.
Tim,
Saudi
Tim,
Arabia called Russia a punk bitch.
Tim, get on Tim, get on your True Social account. We got work to do.
Okay.
That's right.
It's like to not
See if
be
the
able to
login still
afford the
works.
things that you need to afford. We can do
Peacemaker
so
420
much better.
Blazin
To
is
all
gonna
of you
save
watching,
gas.
we can get back to an America that's affordable again. We just got to get back to common sense economic principles.
I hope we have a
No,
conversation
appeal to
on
common sense.
healthcare then.
Senator Governor,
Please.
thank you. Margaret?
Oh, I bet we'll fix healthcare.
We have a lot to get to ahead, gentlemen, on many topics. But right now, I want to talk about personal qualifications. The vice president is
Ooh.
often the last voice the president hears before making consequential decisions. We want to ask you about
That's
your
debatable.
leadership qualities.
Yeah.
Governor Walz,
Probably Laura
you
Loomer.
said you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protests in the spring of
Oh, she
1989.
would totally be his chief of staff.
But Minnesota
100%.
Public Radio and other media outlets
Oh.
are reporting that you actually didn't travel
Elon.
to Asia until August of that year. Can you explain that discrepancy? You have 2 minutes.
Well, and to the folks out there who didn't get at the top of this, look, I grew up in small rural
Oh,
Nebraska.
there it is.
Oh,
Town of
there's on the
400.
board.
Oh, it's already
Town that
done.
you rode your bike
Already
with your
got the
buddies
square.
till the street lights come on,
Yep.
and I'm proud of that
Put another
service.
X through
I
it.
joined the National Guard at
Who's
17,
winning right now?
worked on family farms, and then
We
I
are.
used the GI
Yeah,
Bill
us.
to become a teacher.
America.
A young
Everyone has
teacher.
lost.
My first year
We're
out, I
all
got the
gonna
opportunity
die.
in the summer of '89 to travel.
I
to
did that
China.
in a meeting
35
once. I
years
sat
ago,
down
be
and
able to
said,
do that. I came
for
back
context in this
home
meeting, I just
and
have
then
to say
started a
that
program
eventually this
to
won't
take
matter
young
and we're all
people
going to
there.
die.
We would take basketball teams.
So
we would
as-
take
as we go
baseball
through
teams,
this
we would
meeting,
take dancers,
remember
and we would
that.
go back and forth to China.
It's not
the
that
issue for that
serious.
was to try and learn. Now look, my community
Lads,
knows
lads,
who I am.
lads, everyone's
They saw
gonna
where I
die.
was at.
What's the point?
Look, I will be the first to tell you,
Might as well
I have
just
poured
go
my
on.
heart into my community.
We're going to
I've
do the
tried to
meeting.
the best
We're going
I
to talk
can,
about
but
it.
I've not been
But
perfect,
let's not
and
get
I'm a
too
knucklehead
involved
at
in this.
times, but it's always been about that. Those same people
Tied up
elected
with
me to
some Space
Congress
Marines too.
for 12 years. And in Congress, I was one
Mars
of the most
attacks.
bipartisan people,
One for
working
the
on
blood
things like
god.
farm bills that we got done, working on veterans benefits. And then the
I
people
wonder
of
where
Minnesota
Cora is
were able to elect
right
me to
now
governor
during
twice.
all of this.
So look,
Is-
my commitment has been from the beginning.
Or is this
Mar-a-Lago.
more of a
Fan?
Slanesh?
To make sure that I get this right. I will say more than anything.
Ooh.
Many times
Oh,
I will
Nurgle.
talk.
Nurgle all the way. You know
Shame.
he smells. You know he smells.
Shame.
That's a shame, Bell.
I will get caught up
Nurgle.
in the rhetoric.
Yeah,
No,
but Nurgle
don't start
is
again.
required for there
The
to be
impact
new
it made,
growth.
the
Don't
difference it
start
made in my
again.
life. I learned a
That
lot
wasn't
about
a
China.
smooth
I
runaway.
hear the critiques of this. I would make the
Corporate
case
growth.
that Donald Trump should have come
All
on one
glory
of those
to the
trips
God
with
Emperor
us.
of humanity.
I guarantee you he wouldn't be praising Xi
Praise the
Jinping about COVID, and I guarantee you he wouldn't start a trade war that he ends up losing. So this is about trying to understand the world. It's about trying to do the best you can for your community, and then it's putting yourself out there and letting
Farmers
your folks
for
understand
Trump.
what it is.
Why
My
does your man?
commitment, whether
He
it's
sounds like
teaching,
Jerry
which I was
Springer.
good at,
He
or
really
whether it
sounds
was
like
being
Jerry
a good
Springer.
soldier or was being a good member of Congress.
R.I.P.
Those are the things that I think are the values.
Speaking
that
of
people
trade
care
wars,
about.
Tim, how do you
Governor,
finish
just
this
to follow
sentence?
up on that, the question was,
When
can
goods
you
don't
explain
cross
the
borders-
discrepancy?
All I said on this was I got there that summer. and
trade doesn't
misspoke
happen?
on this, so I will
Soldiers do.
Just, that's what I've said.
Oh, there you go.
So I was in Hong
Karl
Kong
von
and China
Clausewitz.
during the democracy protests went in.
That's a good
and
one.
From that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in.
I've missed you, Swede.
Thank you, Governor. Senator Vance, in 2016,
You haven't
called your
responded to
running
any
mate
of my
Donald
tags
Trump
on Facebook
unfit
when I
for
make
the
fun of
nation's
English
highest
soccer.
office, and you said he
He's very
would be
sensitive.
America's Hitler. I know
Yeah,
you've said,
but
you've been asked
no,
many times,
I'll
and you've said
probably
you regret
come back
those
with
comments.
a very volatile
explained you then
and
voted.
hostile
Can't hear the question.
Gentlemen,
Been asked
stop the
many
side
times,
chatter.
And you've said you regret those
Fuck you.
comments
Stay on target.
and explained
Order! Order!
you then voted for Donald Trump.
Okay.
Chat red too.
What the? Thank you. I need to get that. That's going on the fucking soundboard. Cut the chatter red too.
20. But the Washington Post reported
We're at
new
5
messages
standing
last
by.
week in which you also disparaged Trump's
Red
economic
October,
record while he
standing
was
by.
president.
God damn it.
Writing to someone in
Orchid
2020,
standing
quote,
by.
Shut the fuck up!
Man,
Fucking
there's
here.
too much ADD in our combined efforts over here. I'm just
Jesus
saying.
fuck.
Right,
doing myself.
so what we need is John
No,
Berco's.
no. We need you to be quiet. Stop. We're like 20 minutes behind. We have to catch up. Stop.
and explained you
You
then
stop
voted
talking.
for Donald Trump in 2020. But the Washington Post reported new messages last week in which you also also disparaged Trump's economic record while he was president, writing to someone in 2020,
Joffrey,
quote,
bitch.
Trump thoroughly failed to deliver his economic populism. You're now his running mate, and you've shifted many of your policy stances to align with his. If you become vice president, why should Americans trust that you will give Donald Trump the advice he needs to hear and not just the advice he wants to hear?
What's your answer, Joffrey?
Well, first of all, Margaret, because I've always been open. And sometimes, of course, I've disagreed with the president, but I've also been extremely open about the fact that I was wrong about Donald Trump.
I don't know who this dude's
I was
fooling.
wrong,
He's not
first
even
of
going to
all,
be
because
in
I
the Oval
believe
Office
some
ever.
of the media stories that turned out to be dishonest fabrications of his record.
Campaign in
But most
Alaska,
importantly,
bitch.
Donald Trump delivered for the American people.
This dude,
rising
you guys
wages, rising
ever watch
take-home
the series-
pay,
the series
an
Veep?
economy that worked for normal
No.
Americans, a secure southern border, a lot
All
of
right.
things, frankly, that I didn't think he'd be able to deliver on. And yeah, when you screw up, when you misspeak, when you get something wrong and you change your mind, you ought to be honest with the American people about it. It's one of the reasons, Margaret, why I've done so many interviews is because I think it's important to actually explain to the American people where I come down on the issues and what changed. Now, you
Thought it
pointed
was
out the
Stolen
messages
Valor
from
coming up.
2020. Margaret, I've been extremely consistent that I think there were a lot of things that we could have done better in the Trump administration the first round if Congress was doing its job. I strongly believe, and I've been a United
Marines
States
press
senator,
corps.
that Congress
Yeah,
is not just a high-class debating
Italy,
society.
was
It's
it?
not just
Yeah.
a forum for senators and congressmen to whine about problems. It's a forum to govern. So there were a lot of things on the border, on tariffs, for example, where I think that we could have done so much more if the Republican Congress and the Democrats in Congress had been a little bit better about how they govern the country. They were so obsessed with impeaching
Yeah, just
Donald
do it
Trump,
better.
they couldn't actually govern. And I want to talk about this tariff issue in particular, Margaret, because Tim just accused this of being a national sales tax. Look,
It
the
will
one
be.
thing, and
That-
you're not
that's
probably
literally what it
surprised to
is.
hear me
It
praising
will
Joe Biden,
be.
but the one thing that Joe Biden did is he
be.
continued some of the Trump tariffs that protected American manufacturing jobs. And it's the
What?
one issue, the most pro-worker part of the Biden administration. It's
we-
the one
can we
issue
ask
where
the
Kamala
Economist
Harris
about
has
this?
run away from Joe Biden's record. Think about this. If you're trying to
Okay.
employ
He's holding his head over
slave
there. I
laborers in
don't
China
think
at $3 a day,
He's gonna have a
you're
brain
going to
aneurysm
do
if you
that
don't
to
talk.
undercut the wages of American workers unless
Trump's tariff was 9%. Guess how much prices of washing machines went up? I'm going to give you one guess.
19.
50.
What's
19.
9 times 2?
17.5.
9%.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Lockstep with the
Lockstep.
tariff.
Yeah.
It was a coincidence.
Yeah.
Sweet, I have a question. What is a tariff for all those, including JD Vance, who has no idea what a tariff is?
Oh, please.
A tax on
It's-
imports that is paid for by consumers.
Yep.
Ah, communism.
Do not trigger him.
That's anarcho-syndicalism.
It does not impact the consumer, the manufacturer at all. It is all on the
Yeah, they
consumer.
just
It actually hurts the manufacturer because it makes prices higher,
And then they sell less.
therefore marginal cost to marginal benefit. You all know the curve.
Oh, yeah.
Fewer people will buy manufactured goods.
Wait,
I know that
but
curve.
if let's say GE is importing and Maytag is not, Maytag will raise their prices to just under where GE is. They don't have
Yep.
and they will
who-
raise their prices just enough.
And who pays?
So-
the consumer.
Everybody.
Even Vance's assumption that a tax on foreign goods will raise manufacturing in America is actually not that true because, like you're saying, the prices will equal out between domestic and foreign goods.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Domestic will
Because-
take advantage of foreign goods, but they'll still raise their prices.
So here's what Marx got wrong. Marx used constant capital, the machines and everything else as a set number. Whereas today we kind of think as capital as a labor multiplier. So what happens is the United States has taken all of the jobs or all the manufacturing that can be multiplied the most. So you have very few as far as workers are concerned, as compared to before, where we were manufacturing, chips, all these
love
other things,
chips. Barbecue chips.
all of everything that would be considered high priority for national defense and state defense. Whereas we are outsourcing
Corn
the things
chips.
that we don't care about, such as clothing, cheap plastic, toys, American flags in the case of Trump, or Trump flags.
Hey,
China is really good at that.
Guess where Haynes has a large production factory at? Haiti, and they pay them like $3 a day.
Yeah,
so when people want to come here and you got Haynes on your butt, you should probably have less of a fucking attitude.
But the low cost labor doesn't beat out a lot of things that are heavy in weight. So all of the high skill, I don't want to say high skill because that's stupid, because every job requires a skill. Highly specialized skill, put it that way.
The niche ones.
Take more niche skill of welding, steel, pipe fitting, things like that. For the auto manufacturing industry are here, and they're located right by where the finishing plant is for just-in-time manufacturing, in such a way that that's actually cheaper than going to Vietnam and having it shipped over here.
Right. All right, let's get back.
Yeah.
Less, our country stands up for itself and says, you're not accessing our markets unless you're paying middle-class Americans a fair wage.
Senator, your time is up. Nora?
Thank you. Now to the issue of
He's in
reproductive
favor
rights.
of raise the
Governor
minimum
Walz,
wage?
after Roe versus Wade was overturned,
so.
you
don't
signed
know.
a bill into law that made Minnesota one of the least restrictive states in the nation when it comes to abortion.
Woo!
Former President Trump said in the
Don't
last
care.
debate that you believe abortion, quote, in the 9th month is absolutely fine. Yes or no?
Executing
Is that
babies.
what you support? I'll give you 2 minutes.
That's not what the bill says.
Fuck
but
off.
look, this issue is what's on everyone's mind. Donald Trump put this all into motion.
Not mine.
He brags about how great it was.
Shut up, Wayne, and
that he
shut
put
up, Wayne.
judges
More-
in and
you're more
overturned
liberal
Roe versus
country
Wade.
for some
52
reason.
years of personal autonomy.
For now.
And then he tells us, oh, we send it to the
Hey,
states.
you just
It's a
wait till the
beautiful
Tories
thing.
get back in power.
Amanda Zaworski would disagree with you on it's a
Baby.
beautiful thing.
Oh,
A
baby.
young bride in Texas waiting for their child at 18 weeks. She has a complication, a tear in the membrane. She needs to go in. The medical care at that point needs to be decided by the doctor. And that would have been an
Enough
abortion.
text from
But
the
in Texas,
Democrats.
that would have
Holy
put them
crap.
in legal jeopardy. She went home, got sepsis, nearly dies, and now she may have difficulty having children. Or in
Dear
Kentucky,
Swede, give us all your money.
Adley
Thank you,
Duvall,
bye.
A 12-year-old child raped and
Before Tim
impregnated by her
steps off the
stepfather.
stage, we want to match your
Those are
donation,
horrific.
900%.
Now, when God asked about that, Senator Vance said, 2 wrongs don't make a right. There is no right.
He sure
in this.
did.
So in Minnesota, what we did was restore Roe versus
Minnesota.
Wade. We made sure that we put women in charge of their health care. But look, this is not where, if you don't know Amanda or a Hadley, you soon will. Their Project 2025 is going to have a registry.
Well, what you put your head down for?
It's going to make it more difficult, if not
Oh,
impossible,
shitty, bro.
to
Oh,
get
he's got-
contraception
fuck.
Yep.
and limit
Oh, we
Why
should've
is that
said-
on the bingo
eliminate
card?
Yeah, we
access
should've
to
put it on the
infertility
bingo
treatments.
card.
We are so
So many of you out there
stupid.
listening, me included,
God
just put
damn.
fertility treatments or
5
why have a
idiots.
child. That's nobody else's business.
Well,
Those things
yeah.
are being-
Five
Or-
idiots in Sweden.
The catch-all on this is, well, the states will decide what's right for Texas.
Well, I was saying everybody but Sweden.
That's not how this works. This is basic human right. We have seen maternal mortality skyrocket in Texas, outpacing many other countries in the world.
Especially
This
for
is
black
about
and brown
healthcare.
girls.
In Minnesota, we are ranked first in healthcare for a reason.
Fans don't
we
care
trust
about that,
women,
though.
we trust doctors.
Senator, do you want to respond to the governor's claim? Will you create a federal pregnancy
No.
monitoring agency?
I really don't want to hear him.
Certainly we won't. And I want to talk about this issue
Liar.
because I know a lot of Americans care about it, and I know a lot of Americans don't agree with everything that I've ever said on this topic. And, you know, I grew up in a working class family in a
There it
neighborhood
is.
where I knew a lot
There's
of
the
young
small
women
town.
who had unplanned pregnancies and decided to terminate those pregnancies because they feel like they didn't have any other options. And,
Fuck
you know,
off, you cunt.
one of them
You
is actually very
fucking
dear to
cunt.
me.
Fuck off.
And I know she's watching tonight.
We're talking
and I
about
love
medical
you.
reasons,
And
not
she told me
just.
something a couple years ago that she felt like if she hadn't had that abortion, that it would have destroyed her life because she was in an abusive relationship. And I think that what I take from that as a Republican who proudly wants to protect.
This is why I would like to
innocent
stroke
life
him on
in
his
this
chin.
country, who
Shut
proudly
up.
wants
You're
to
going to
protect the
fucking get us
vulnerable,
in
is that
trouble.
my
He's a
party,
fucking
we've gotta do
presidential
so much
candidate.
better
You
of a
can't say that
job
shit.
at
Wind it
earning
in.
the American people's
I said
trust
stroke
back
him
on
on
this
his chin.
issue. Where they
You
frankly
listen to the
just don't
syllables out of my
trust us.
mouth.
And I think
We
that's one of
can't
the things
threaten
that Donald
him.
Trump and
He's
I
Wa-
are
running
endeavoring
for
to do.
office, so
I
don't
want
do
us
that.
as a Republican
Wait,
Party
it's
to
a
be
gent-
pro-family in
gentle
the
sort of
fullest
like
sense of the
thing.
All
word.
right, and then when you
Support
can't
fertility
get back in the
treatments. I
fucking
want us to
meeting,
make
you'll
it
understand
easier
why.
for moms to afford
Wind
to
your
have
neck
babies.
in.
I want it to
Yeah,
make it
wind your
easier
neck
for
in.
young families to afford a home so they can afford a place to raise
I don't like
that
him either,
family. And I think there's
Wayne.
so much that we can do.
Nobody here
on the
likes
public
him.
policy front just
Except
to
for
give
Ollie,
women
maybe.
more
I
options.
think he's okay.
No, I mean,
Now, of course, Donald
but I
Trump has been
can't
very
help
clear
staring
that
at
on
his
the abortion
eyeliner.
policy specifically.
Ollie loves
that we
him.
have
You're so
a
dreamy.
country
No,
and it's
no,
diverse.
he-
And
he
California
makes
has a
me
different
ill.
viewpoint on this.
Can't stop
than
staring into
Georgia.
those
Georgia
eyes.
has a different viewpoint from
That
Arizona.
tie
and
is
the
so
proper
big.
way to
A
go
Canadian can get lost in those eyes.
The
sometimes
eyeliner
is
just
is
makes
to
you
let
focus right in on his
voters make
eyes.
these
But
decisions.
he
Let the
looks
individual
sleepy all the
states
time,
make their
too.
abortion
That's how he
policy.
makes you fall
And I
in
think
love with
that's
him,
what
Ollie.
makes the most sense in
Why
a
do you
very
blink,
big,
man?
a
He's
very
got
diverse,
so
and let's be
much.
honest, sometimes a very, very messy and divided country.
He wants you to
Governor,
be
would you like to
attracted to his
respond?
eyes.
Also answer
Okay,
the
okay,
question.
okay, okay, okay.
All right,
The question got asked
Everyone
when Donald
shush.
Trump
Shame.
made the accusation that wasn't true about Minnesota. Well, let me tell you about this idea that there's diverse states. There's a young woman named Amber Thurman. She happened to be in Georgia, a restrictive state. Because of that, she had to travel a long distance to North Carolina to try and get her care. Amber Thurman died in that journey back and forth. The fact of the matter is, how can we as a nation say that your life and your rights, as basic as the right to control your own body, is determined on geography? There's a very real chance, had Amber Thurman lived in Minnesota, she would be alive today. That's why the restoration of Roe versus Wade. When you listen to Vice President Harris talk about this subject and you hear me talk about it, you hear us talking exactly the same. Donald Trump is trying to figure out how to get the political right of this. I agree with a lot of what Senator Vance said about what's happening. His running mate, though, does not, and that's the problem.
Governor, your time is up. Senator, let me ask you about
Smoked
that.
it.
He mentioned, it was, I think, referring to a national ban. In the past,
Smoked
you
it.
have supported a federal ban on abortion after 15 weeks. In fact, you said if someone can't support legislation like that, quote, you are making the United States the most barbaric pro-abortion regime anywhere in the entire world. My question is, why have you changed your
wow.
position?
Well, Nora,
said those
first of all,
things?
I
What a
never supported
monster.
A national ban.
Bite
I did
your own
during when I
ass.
was running for Senate in 2022 talk about setting some minimum national standard. For example, we have a partial birth abortion
Bite
ban
my
in this
shiny
in place
metal
in this
ass.
country at the federal level. I don't think anybody's trying to get rid of that, or at least I
That
hope
should go
not.
on the soundboard.
Though I know that Democrats have taken a
Pretty
very
soon we're gonna
radical
be a communist
pro-abortion
country.
stance. But Nora, you know, one of the things that changed is
Pretty
in
soon we'll be a
Ohio,
communist
we
country.
had a referendum in 2023, and the people
I
of
love
Ohio
that. We
voted
can't drink while
overwhelmingly,
driving
by the way,
anymore. It's gonna be a
against my
communist
position.
country.
And I think that what I learned from that, Nora, is that we've got to do a better job at winning
With
back
a 7-month-old
people's trust.
sitting
many
next to
young
her in this
women
weird
would love to have
wooden
families.
car
While
seat.
So many
smoking a
young women
cigarette
also
in
see
a
an
clip in
unplanned
the
pregnancy
windows
as
clip.
something that's going to destroy
summer.
their livelihood,
Oh,
destroy
sorry,
their
England.
education, destroy their relationships. And we've got to earn people's trust back. And that's why Donald Trump and I are committed to pursuing pro-family policies, making
There it is.
child care more accessible, making fertility treatments more
Not-
accessible.
yeah,
Because we've got to do a better job at that. And that's what real leadership is.
Governor, your response.
As long as it's
I'm going to
Christian.
respond on the pro-abortion piece of that. No, we're not. We're pro-women. We're pro-freedom to make your own choice. We know what the implications are to not be that. Women having miscarriages, women not getting the care, physicians feeling like they may be prosecuted for providing that care. And as far as making sure that we're educating our children and giving them options, Minnesota's a state with one of the lowest teen pregnancy rates. We understand that too. We know that the options need to be available, and
In
we
your
make
face.
that true. We also make it, we're a top 3 state for the best place to raise children. But
Education.
these two things to try and say that we're pro-children, but we don't like this, or you guys are pro-abortion, that's not the case at all. We are pro-freedoms for women to make their choices, and we're going, and Kamala Harris is making the case, to make options for children more affordable, a $6,000 child tax credit, but we're not going to base that on the backs of making someone like Amber Thurman drive 600 miles to try and get health care.
Senator.
May I respond to that? First of
Bitch.
all, Governor, I agree with you. Amber Thurman should still be alive, and there are a lot of people who should still be alive, and I certainly wish that she was. And maybe
And I'm
you're
sorry
free
we
to
killed
disagree
them.
with me on this and explain
is he
this
gonna
to
ask
me,
him about
but
all the
as I
babies
read
that are
the
dead
Minnesota
now?
law that you signed into law, the statute that you signed into law, it says that a doctor who presides over an abortion where the baby survives, the doctor is under no obligation to provide life-saving care to a baby who survives a botched late-term abortion. That is, I think,
That's
whether
not
you're
true.
pro-choice or
That's not
pro-abortion,
Does he understand what a late-term
fundamentally
abortion
barbaric.
is?
And that's
No.
why
He
I
doesn't
use
know.
that word, Nora, is because some
And
of what
why
we've seen,
those
you
are
want to force
performed?
Catholic hospitals to perform
100
abortions
wait,
against their will? Because Kamala
99.9
Harris has
repeating
supported
percent of the
suing
time.
Catholic nuns to violate
That
their
is
freedom of
mother's
conscience.
help every
We can
time.
be a big and diverse country where we respect people's freedom of
Okay,
conscience
I'm
and make the
just
country more
gonna
pro-baby
sit
and
here and-
pro-family. But
He
please,
did mention Catholicism.
Governor, please respond.
Look, this is one where there's always something there. This is a very simple proposition. These are women's decisions to make about their healthcare decisions, and the physicians who know best when they need to do this. Trying to distort the way a law is written to try and make a point, that's not it
But
at all.
what was I wrong
This
about,
was-
Governor? Please tell me, what was I wrong
That is
about?
not the way the law is written. Look, I've given
But
this.
how?
I've given this advice
Shut
on a
your
lot of
ass
things
up.
that getting
That's how words
involved,
work,
getting
JD,
That's been
you
misread,
fuck.
and it was fact-checked at the
Joffrey?
last debate. But the point on this is there's a continuation of these guys to try and tell women or to get involved. I use this line on this, just mind your own business.
There it
on
is.
This. Things work
There it
best
is.
when
Yeah.
Roe versus Wade was in
Boom.
Mikey, I really need you to pause this right now.
Funding for children.
I really,
it doesn't
really-
increase us from making
All
sure
right.
that once that
Yeah,
child's
half an hour
born,
we
like
We'll
in
give you
Minnesota,
we'll give you 30
they get
seconds. How about
meals.
that?
You get 1 minute, Wayne.
No,
Go.
right. As someone who has had 2 abortions with 2 separate people, I have 2 beautiful children. For me, this is a non fucking like just it's not. Women should have the option to abort any pregnancy that they do not want.
Agreed.
That's it.
Agreed.
They get early childhood education. They get
And-
health care. So the hiding behind
Po-
we're going to do all
pause it,
these other
pause it.
things.
And I have had the turmoil of like the what if twice. I've got 2 beautiful bears that are that could have been joined by an additional 2, but we had to make that decision. My former partners and whatnot, but we had that decision to make, and it's fucking emotional. It's you're bringing life into this world, and to say it as triviality as your man is doing right now, shut the fuck up, bruv. I'm
Well, you're
not about
proposing
it.
them in your budget. Kamala Harris is proposing them. She's proposing all those things to make life easier for families.
I asked a specific question, Governor. You gave me a slogan as a response.
It's not the case. It's not true. That's not what the law says. So they fact-checked it with President Trump.
Gentlemen, there's a lot to discuss. We have to move on, and we're going to be right back with much more of the CBS News.
All right, a commercial break. Now let's take a long pause to say stuff.
Oh, we can't do that now. Skip it. Skip it. Skip it. Skip it.
No. Sorry.
As my wife would say with late-term abortions, these are people that have to make a decision when they made up the room, they bought a crib, they have names picked out, they have binkies with those names etched into them. They have hidden the name, and they are so waiting to like drop the name on their family. They're everything. They've baby-proofed the house. They've got everything done.
Prenatal, postnatal vitamins.
All this. They probably have already had 1 or 2 showers. One or 2 baby showers. They've gone
Both
through
sides
this whole
of the family.
thing, and then all of a sudden,
it's all
the
gone.
news hits.
Yeah.
The news that the doctor is like, baby's
Yeah.
missing half of its body. Baby's missing.
Brain.
There was a Hox gene mutation, and it of the worst kind, and the insides
Are no
developed on
longer
the
inside.
outside.
Yeah.
or an ectopic pregnancy.
Yes.
Ectopic. Yeah.
Yes.
But that's caught way earlier. That's caught way.
Because that'll kill her way before 9 months. That'll kill her in 2 months.
Yeah.
And there's multitudes of different scenarios, which is why this is a conversation of people involved and their doctor. Fuck the government.
Yep.
I don't want fuckface in my life with someone I care about making this, like just like Wayne said, a heartfelt decision. Fuck off. Like there's no other way to say it.
Trump's 82-year-old ass should be the one that fucking makes the call. Don't you think?
Right? Oh.
He's totally got skin in the game. Loose, flappy skin.
Let me sort of like just contextualize this. I was at the Mary Stopes Clinic when my ex.
Wayne, this is a little much.
No. I'm
for
trying
the day. I'm just saying you're getting a little too granular. Because
No,
we're your friends and you're not listening to me. You're trying to argue with me. I'm steering you away from this. That's really personal, and we're in front of new people. This is not the time.
No, but I'm trying to give context because it's all right with me. I'm like over it in that sense. I was at the Mary Stopes Clinic, dropped my at the time partner off, and she's like, she looked at me and said, are you sure we're doing the right thing? I'm like, yes, we are, because we're not in the space to have another person. And I had to drive down the road and then park in a particular space to not get a ticket and wait for her to have her procedure done, and then pick her up, drive home, and then come home. And we basically just laid there and cuddled the entire afternoon, like knowing that what we did in that procedure was the right thing for us at the time. And then later on, when we were in a good place, we had little Flobo. You know, you've seen Florence. She was in the
Wayne, check your DMs. We have to get back to this. You're missing me by a mile, and I'm trying to be super charitable, and I need you to get back on page. I need you to get back with me here. Check your DMs. No. Check your DMs.
Welcome back to the CBS News Vice Presidential.
Yeah, dude, we're with you, dude. Just check your DMs.
Debate. We want to turn now to America's gun violence epidemic. The leading cause of death for children and teens in America.
Do they kill people?
Firearms.
Let's find out.
You oppose most gun legislation that Democrats claim would curb gun violence.
People are just really allergic to bullets.
You oppose red flag gun laws and legislation
Instead of asking you a question about guns, you will now duel.
Including AR-15s. So let me ask you.
Throws two pistols out there.
For the first time,
Flintlock pistols.
of a school shooter
I would
were
love to
convicted
see
of
that, honestly.
involuntary manslaughter
Nerf guns,
and
that would be
sentenced to
funny
10
as
years
fuck.
in prison.
Come
I want to see them both take apart an M1 Garand.
I'm just gonna get my sword right now.
Shootings. I'll give you 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, no, in that particular case, I
I'm
don't
gonna give
know
it to the
full
sergeant
details,
major.
But I certainly trust local law enforcement and local authorities to make those decisions. I think in some cases
He
the
was
answer's
there
gonna
when they
be yes,
came
and
out.
In some cases the answer is going to be no, and the details really matter here.
My
Of course,
grandfather
for example,
carried
if a
one.
kid steals a gun, that's going to be different than if a parent hands over a
Thumb
gun
snatcher.
knowing that their kid is potentially dangerous. But look, I want to
Listen,
just
both
sort of
things have
speak
happened,
as
bro.
a father
Both things have
of
happened.
3 beautiful little kids, and our oldest is now in 2nd grade. And like a lot of parents, we
My
send
kids
our
had to go
school
through an
with
active
such
shooter
hope
drill
and
last
such
week.
joy and such pride.
I
at
had to
their
go
little
through an
faces on the
active
first day
shooter
of
drill
school, and
last
we
week.
know, unfortunately, that a
month
lot of
ago-
kids
month
are
and a
going to
half ago
experience
for
this
me.
terrible epidemic of gun violence. And of course,
I
our
had
kids
in the
have
house.
families
There's
that
no
are affected
active
by this
shooters.
terrible stuff.
I
and we
work
do
for the
have to do
government. We
better.
go through those
And I
drills
think that Governor
regularly.
Walz and I
Yeah,
actually
we
probably
don't- we
agree that
don't
need
have
to do
that in,
better on this. The
England.
question is just how do we actually
You don't
do
have
it?
guns in England.
Now,
Just frogs
here's
starting
something
race
that really
riots.
bothers me and worries me about
Just
this
cricket
epidemic
bats.
of violence. The gross majority,
knives
close to
in England.
90%, and
So
some of
many
the
knives.
statistics I've
We have
seen
so many
of the
Americans
gun violence in this
crossing the border
country
with
is
guns.
How about
committed
me?
illegally
Full
obtained
disclosure, I'm
firearms.
so far left, people got their guns back. So
Yeah,
All right.
there shouldn't be a Second Amendment
hey,
like at all.
Hey, Hey, reel it in. Reel it in. We're back in debate mode. Reel it in. Reel it in. Focus your center. Focus your chakras.
And I think that
You need
Governor
to
Walz
mute
and I
yourself.
actually probably agree that we need to do
Fuck
better
you,
on this.
Swade.
The question is just how do we actually do it? Now, here's something that really bothers me and worries me about this epidemic of violence. The gross majority, close to 90% in some of the statistics I've seen, of
Are
the gun
white
violence in
males.
this country is committed with illegally obtained firearms. And while
That's
we're on
wrong.
that topic,
That's
we know that thanks to
inaccurate.
Kamala Harris's open border, we've
There's
seen a
no way
massive
that's right.
influx in the number of
There's
illegal
no way.
guns.
If you wanna make
run
up
by
a
the Mexican
statistic, you
drug
can't use
cartels. So that
90%.
number, the amount of illegal guns in our country is higher today than it was 3.5 years ago.
I fucking wonder
What do we
why.
do about the schools? What do we do to protect our kids? And I think the answer is, and
Give
I
them
say
guns.
this not loving
Give the kids
answer,
guns.
because I don't want my kids to go to school in a school that feels unsafe or where there are
Oh, it's
visible
good he had another
signs of
sentence after
security.
that.
But I unfortunately think that we have to increase security in our schools. We have to make the doors lock better. We have to make the doors
Bulletproof
stronger. We've got to make
doors.
the windows
Bulletproof
stronger.
kids.
And of course, we've got to increase school resource
Locked
officers
backpacks.
because the
One-
idea that we can magically wave a wand and take
100%
guns
of,
out of the hands of bad guys,
schools
it just
in
doesn't
the
fit with
UK
recent experience. So we've got to make our
didn't
schools safer.
have
And I think we've got to have
gun
some common
violence
sense bipartisan
in them.
solutions.
Well, good for you, Wayne. Good for your country and you fuck.
So you're
How
gonna
about
be
that?
Bastards.
so it's so dead kids is something to be smug about. Noted.
And of course, we've got to increase school resource officers because the idea that we can magically wave a wand and take guns out of the hands of bad guys, it just doesn't
Fucking
fit with
Southern
recent
monkey.
experience. So we've got to make our schools safer. And I think we've got to
Did
have
you
some
just call me a
common sense
monkey?
bipartisan solutions for how to do that.
Oh, hello.
Governor, you have 2 minutes.
Well, I think all the parents watching tonight.
Wayne's a
this is
tosser.
your biggest nightmare. Look, I got a 17-year-old, and he witnessed a shooting at a community center playing volleyball.
Wait, is
Those
it
things
is it
don't leave
northern
you. As
or
a
no
member of
northern
Congress,
fairies and
I
southern
sat-
monkeys?
All right, Swede, you were smart before. Now you're just being a dum dum like us.
No. It's from Lockstock.
Keep digging. Keep digging.
No, it's from
Mute 'em.
Lockstock.
That's all right.
Mute
Debate.
him, Mikey.
It's all right, bruv. You keep
Debate.
digging.
It's
You
from
can hear them.
Lockstock, you moron.
in my office.
Oh,
Surrounded by
so
dozens of
I'm
Casanio
a
parents.
monkey moron.
Shut up.
Oh, fuck.
Mikey,
Looking at my-
there's no
You're
control.
an M&M.
Yeah.
You're gonna be a muted motherfucker in a minute. Is what the fuck.
7-year-old picture on
Oh,
the wall.
he's got
Their
moderator
7-year-old was
powers.
dead. And they were asking us to do something. And look, I'm a hunter. I own firearms. The vice president is. We understand that the Second Amendment is there, but our first responsibility is to our kids to figure this out. In Minnesota, we've enacted enhanced red flag laws, enhanced background checks, and we can start to get data. But here's the problem. If we really want to solve this, we've got folks that won't allow research to be even done on gun violence.
That's true.
And this idea that
Keep
we should
blocking
just live with it, and I here's what I do think, that this is a good start to the conversation. I 100% believe that Senator Vance hates it when these kids, it's abhorrent and it breaks your heart. I agree with that. But that's not far enough when we know there are things that worked.
He doesn't
Oh,
understand.
he
emotion.
got
In
him.
Finland and seen some Finnish schools.
He made you agree,
They don't
dumbass.
have this happen,
Oh, God.
Even though they have a high gun ownership rate in the country. There are reasonable things that we can do to make a difference. It's not infringing on your
He's coming
Second
across
Amendment.
reasonable.
And the idea to have some of these weapons out there, it just doesn't make any sense.
Vance is
Kamala
like, wait,
Harris,
did I
as an
get
Attorney
fooled?
General,
Yeah,
worked
dude.
on this issue. She knows that it's
You
there.
tricked me in the
no
nodding.
one's trying to scaremonger and say we're taking
We
your
already
gun,
agree
but
with
I
him.
ask all of you
Vance
out
is
there.
anti-gun.
Do you want your schools hardened to look like a fort? Is that what we have
Hell
to go?
yeah.
When we know there's
wanna go
countries
to school in a
around the
castle.
world.
Then we can
Hell
play
yeah.
capture the
Their
flag.
children
Oh,
aren't practicing
against other
self-defense.
schools?
Yeah.
They're being kids.
Yeah, dude.
We owe it to them to get a fix.
Capture the
These
ball.
are things that
I've
shouldn't be that
literally got
difficult.
to go to
You
bed
can still
because
keep your
Night, Wayne.
arms,
work.
and we can make a
I've got
difference.
work
We
in the
have
morning.
to. If you're listening
Night,
tonight,
dude.
this
It's
breaks your heart.
20 to
Brother,
4.
brother, hang up. You're not about to escort yourself out. Just hang up. I'll see you later.
Have a good night, man.
Love you,
No,
dude.
no. I'm being polite. I'm going to say.
No,
goodbye
you're
to
not being
everyone.
polite. You're talking over the fucking debate. This isn't a regular podcast. I'm trying to explain it to you. You're missing it. I'll see you later, Wayne. I love you. Dick.
Bye, Wayne.
Fuck you, you bunch of cunts.
You fucking.
Thanks for sharing.
I'm Idris Elba. I goes where I goes.
You know what? I'm gonna boot this
Goes to
motherfucker.
fuck to
I'm gonna
bed.
boot this
Good night,
motherfucker.
Wayne.
Get removed from the call, bitch.
Good. He's gone. Let's talk. He's a fucking git.
Senator.
Tim,
he
first
likes
of all, I didn't know that
Manchester
your
United.
17-year-old witnessed a shooting, and I'm sorry about that.
Fucking calm
I
down.
heard he's a Tottenham fan.
Hey, y'all chill over there. We don't want an international incident.
And I hope that you're doing okay. Christ have mercy. It is awful. And I
Christ
appreciate
have
what Tim
mercy.
said actually about Finland, because I do think it illustrates some of the frankly weird differences between our own country's gun violence problem.
Wrong person said weird.
And
Oh, yeah.
Finland is, okay, first of all, we
dang.
have
Still count?
way higher rates of mental health abuse or mental health substance abuse. We have way higher rates of depression,
Vance is
way
in a
higher
trap
rates
right
of
now.
anxiety.
Oh,
We
get him to agree
unfortunately have
again.
a mental health crisis in this country that I really do think that we need to get
He
to the
currently
root
is.
causes of, because I don't think it's the whole reason why we have such a bad gun
He
violence
painted him
problem,
in, dude.
but I do
You
think
can't
it's
get
a big
out.
piece of it. Another driver of the gun violence epidemic, especially that affecting our kids, it doesn't earn
Indiana.
as many headlines, but is the terrible gun violence problem in
Bridgeport,
a lot of our big
Connecticut.
cities. And this is
Wisconsin.
why we have to empower law enforcement to
Hartford,
arrest the bad
Connecticut.
guys, put them away, and take gun offenders off the streets. I think there's a whole host of things that we can do
maybe
here,
they shouldn't
but I
own
do think at
guns.
our schools we've got to talk about
JD
more
Vance is
security.
coming for your
Senator,
guns.
Thank you, Governor. You previously opposed
Yep.
an assault weapons ban, but it only later in your political career did you change your position. Why?
Yeah, I sat in that office with those Sandy Hook parents. I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA, I was an NRA
what?
guy for a long time.
Oh,
They used
no.
to teach gun
Oh,
safety.
no.
He said he
I'm of an
misspoke
age
there,
where
yeah.
my
Sir?
shotgun
Oh,
was in my car
no.
so I could pheasant hunt after football practice.
Oh,
Oh,
boy,
no.
That's gonna be replayed on the internet
Hunting
forever.
after football practice? What?
Talking about cities and where it's at,
He said I was
The
friends
number
with
one-
school shooters.
Survivors.
most firearm deaths
You meant
happen in
School
School
cities are
shootings,
rural
shooting
suicides.
survivors.
And we have an epidemic of children getting guns and shooting themselves. And so
That's a
we
misspeak.
have, and we should look
There's
at
like
all
a
of the
word
issues.
missing.
Yeah, but it's gonna be
Making sure
played on the
folks have
internet
healthcare and
forever.
all
Yeah,
that.
it'll be
I wanna
all right.
Very careful.
It's gonna look
This
bad on
idea
the
of
internet, but
Stigmatizing mental health.
It'll be fine.
Just because you have a mental health issue doesn't mean you're violent. And I think what we end up doing is we start looking for a scapegoat. Sometimes it
Vance
just
is
is the
agreeing with
guns.
him again.
It's just the
Yeah.
guns, and there are things that
Wow.
you can do about
He's
it.
right,
but I do think
guys.
that this is
Damn
new,
it.
and I
I'm a
think this is healthy
Democrat, aren't I?
conversation. I think there's a capacity.
He
to
said,
find
"Fuck, I
solutions
did it
on this
again."
That work.
Damn
That
it.
Second Amendment. help
Greatest
our children.
debate
That's our
ever. He
priority.
converted
Gentlemen,
his
thank you,
opponent to
Margaret.
his side.
Thank you, Nora.
Oops.
Let's turn now
I'm
to
just
the
going to
top
say I like
contributor
how the
to
little
inflation,
cloud goes
the high
behind
cost
them
of
because it
housing
looks like they're
and rent.
smoking pot right along with
There's a
us.
shortage of
For
more
me,
than
anyway.
4 million homes in the
Oh,
United
the little
States. and
glare.
that contributes to the high
Yeah.
housing prices.
Little shimmer.
Walls. The Harris campaign promises a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers.
Yeah, let's hear it.
And a
that's pretty
$10,000
good.
tax credit. They also promise to
Depends
build
on how you do
3
it.
million new homes. Where are you building
As
these
with
homes,
everything,
and won't handing out that
everybody's
money
gonna be doing it.
just
Execution.
drive up
Yeah.
prices higher?
No,
No,
it's
not
definitely in the
handing out. We
policy
have-
for sure.
First, let me say this issue of housing, and I think those of you listening on this, the problem we've had is
What the
that
problem
we've
is?
got a lot of folks that see housing as another commodity. It
Which
can
it
be
ain't.
bought up, it can be shifted, it can be moved
Well,
around.
the
Those are not
companies
folks
think it
living in
is.
those houses.
Yep.
Those of you listening tonight, that house is a big deal. I bought and owned one house in my life. My mom still lives in the house where I was. And when
It's
I think of a house,
huge.
I'm thinking of Christmas services after midnight mass where you go with your family. We need to make it
Small
more
town.
affordable. And
Using
one of the things,
religion.
as I said, this program that the vice president is,
Try that in a
is,
small town.
pushing forward and bringing
Oh
a
my
new way
God.
of approaching this is something we're doing in
Forgot
Minnesota
about that.
from that lead. We in the state invested in making sure our housing was the biggest investment that we'd ever made in housing. It starts to make it easier. We cut some of the red tape. Local folks, look, we can't do it at the federal level, but local folks make it easier to build those homes. And then that down
Local
payment
folks.
assistance. I can tell all of you out there, one of the, certainly for me, using the GI Bill was one thing, but a veteran's home loan, the big thing about a veteran's home loan is you don't have to pay the down payment.
Right.
Those are things that make it there. No, look, you're going to
What?
pay it
You're just
back,
in there.
and you're going to pay your mortgage.
Holy
Those are
shit.
things
You just-
that
you
we
just
know in
start
the long
paying
run,
your
the
mortgage.
Appreciated value,
Yep.
the
What?
generational wealth that's created from it.
Been a thing
And I
for
will
like
give
50
Minneapolis
years,
an example.
60 years.
Minneapolis is the
Even
one city
the
where we've seen
HUD
the lowest inflation
shit,
rates.
they used to got to put
We've
down
seen
like 1 or
a
2%.
12% increase in stock because we've put some of these things in, and we're
FHA is
implementing
3.
a state program to make sure we give some of that down payment assistance.
I think we
get
put
it
down
back from
2%,
people,
but we also
because
had
here's
like
what we
the
know.
second
People with stable
loan.
housing end up with stable jobs. People with stable housing have their kids able to get to school. All of those
Yep.
things in the long run end up saving our money. And that's the thing that I think we should be able to find some common ground.
Yeah,
in, but
humans
we
need
can't
huts.
blame,
Duh.
immigrants for the only reason. That's not
You
the
played-
case that's happening.
you ever played Ark,
The
motherfucker?
fact of the matter is that we don't have enough naturally affordable housing, but we can make sure that the
Haven't you
government's there to help
We need
kickstart it,
people to be able to
create
tame
that-
raptors.
Create that base.
Governor, your time is up. Senator Vance, on
A
as far as
raptor
your
for every
campaign's
home.
position, the promise
A raptor
is
in
to
every pot.
seize federal lands to
We need
build
to tickle
homes,
chickens.
remove regulation, provide tax breaks, and cut back on immigration, which
I
you
forget
say
what those are
pushes
called.
up
The really long
prices.
claws.
Where are you going to build all the new
Tickle
homes you're
chickens.
promising, and what part of any of this plan will provide
Nebraska.
immediate relief? You have 2 minutes.
Uh-oh.
Well, first
There's
of
a
all,
Nebraska in here. You better be
Tim
careful,
just said
Tim.
something that I agree with. We don't want to blame immigrants
think
for
J.D.
higher
Vance
housing
thinks
prices, but
Lorenzo
we do
is a
want to
hot
blame
pocket.
Kamala Harris for letting in millions of illegal aliens into this country,
Or it's a donut,
which
we don't
does
know.
drive up costs, Tim.
You whispered interrupted. I
25
love
million
it.
illegal aliens competing with Americans for scarce homes is one of the most significant drivers of home prices.
How do
in the
illegals
country.
buy
It's
homes?
Why we have
Yeah,
With all their
massive
money.
increases in
How
home
can they
prices
get a
that have happened
loan?
right alongside massive increases in illegal
use that drug money, Tim.
alien populations under Kamala Harris's leadership. Now, Tim just mentioned a bunch of ideas. Now, some
I
of those
did
ideas
not.
I actually think are
Yeah,
halfway
you did.
decent, and
Oh,
some of them
the
I
other
disagree
Tim.
with. But the most important thing here is Kamala
only
Harris
a
is
few
not
minutes out,
running
Ollie.
as a newcomer to politics. She is the sitting vice president. If she wants to enact all of these policies to make housing more affordable, I invite her to use the office
not
that
the
American
president.
people already gave her.
Dude, this guy
not
thinks
sit
he can
around
be a
and campaign
dictator
and
when
do
he gets
nothing
in
Yeah.
while Americans
Yep.
find the American dream.
That's a
of
triple check on
homeownership
Biden
completely
isn't running.
unaffordable. Now, you asked
yeah.
Margaret, what would
You
immediately
realize
change
that
the
the
equation for
VP is
American
basically
citizens
a
if
pretty
you
face.
lower energy
Yeah.
Go
prices?
sit in the
As
Senate.
Donald Trump says, drill
Color in your
Literally-
book.
one of the
he's
biggest
literally a
drivers of housing
body.
costs aside from
It's the
illegal
backup.
immigration is think
backup.
about it.
It's-
If the
it's
truck
like-
driver's paying
And
40% more
president
for
of the
diesel,
actor.
then
The
the
actor
lumber
always
is
has an
delivering to the job
understudy.
site. to build
Understudy.
houses is also
Understudy.
going to become a
The
lot
only
more expensive.
power a
If we
VP
open
has
up
is the
American energy,
tiebreaker
you will
vote.
get immediate pricing relief
And this is the
for
moment.
American
This is the
citizens,
moment where
not by the
Tim
way
Walz needs
just
to
in
hit him with
housing,
it.
but in a whole host of
That
other
the
economic goods
VP
too.
is not the president and
Senator
can't do
Vance,
anything.
you still have 23 seconds there. Do you want to answer?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. I'm
Nope,
going to
ended early.
get to you in a moment, but
Ooh,
Senator,
finishing early
where
in
are
a
you going to
debate?
seize the
That's
federal
a no.
lands? Can you clarify?
Not the first time.
Well, what Donald Trump has said is we have a lot of federal
On a
lands that
couch.
aren't being used for anything. They're not being used for national park. They're not being used, and they could be places
JD, I
where
would
we
like to
build
ask
a
you
lot of
one
housing.
thing.
And I do think that we should be opening up building in this country. We have a
you
lot of land
do
that
you
could be used. We have a
prefer
lot of Americans that need
prairie
homes.
style
debate,
couches?
Kicking out
debate,
illegal immigrants
debate,
who are competing
debate.
for those homes, and we should be building more homes for the American
More like
citizens
master
who deserve
debate.
to be
Shut
here.
the fuck up.
Senator, your time is up.
was a good
Governor,
one,
I do
Lauren.
want to let
Go
you
for it.
respond to the allegation that the vice president is
Masturbate
letting
Mr.
in
Debater.
Well, of course, that's not
migrants,
true. And again,
that
you
it's
have the
affecting
facts. I
housing
guess we
prices.
agreed not to fact check. I'll check it. That look, crossings are down compared to when Donald Trump left office. But it's again blaming and not trying to find the solution. I was going to ask though on this question, are we going to drill and build houses in the same federal land? And I think when people hear federal lands, these are really important pieces of land. Now, Minnesota doesn't have a lot of federal lands. I know in the western part of the countries we do. There's not a lot of federal lands in and around Minneapolis, for example. So the issue is I don't understand the federal lands issue unless we see this, and I worry about this as someone who cares deeply about our national parks and our federal lands. Look, Minnesota, we protect these things. We've got
nodding
about
again.
20% of the world's fresh water.
Yeah, parks
These
good.
lands protect.
Vance
They're
is
there
gonna
for
be a
reason. They
Democrat
belong
by the
to
end of
all
this
us.
debate.
But again, this is when
Can you
view
be my new
housing
daddy?
and you view these things as commodities.
I will
Like, there's a chance
serve
to
you.
make money here. Let's take this
Also
federal
be like,
land and
call
let's
me
sell it to
coach.
people for that. I think there's better ways to
Slaps
do
him on
this.
the butt.
We've seen it in Minnesota.
Can I
We're able
call
to
you
refurbish
Dad?
some of these houses. We're able to make some investments.
Thanks,
that
Coach
gets people in.
Dad.
And I'm still
You got
on
it,
fact
son.
On this,
Oh.
economists. Senator Vance, you said you don't like the economists.
CCD,
Which
Commander Coach
economists
Dad.
are saying that it is immigrants that's adding to the cost?
Governor,
Where's
your
the study?
time is up. But Senator, on that point, I'd like for you to clarify. There are many contributing factors to high housing costs. What evidence do you have?
He's like
that
a bobblehead.
migrants Are part of this problem.
Well, there's a Federal Reserve study that we're happy to share after the debate. We'll put it up on social media, actually, that really
Fed
drills
said this?
down on the connection between increased
Say
levels
what
of
again?
migration, especially
migrants
illegal
are
immigration and
causing
higher
housing
prices. Now,
inflation?
of course,
No.
Margaret, that's
No.
not the entire driver of higher
No.
housing prices. It's
Not even a
also
little.
the regulatory regime of Kamala Harris.
Try again.
Look, we are a country
checked.
of builders.
No.
We're a country of doers.
It's actually
We're a country
corporations
of
buying all the
explorers.
homes,
but we
but, you know,
increasingly
that's-
have
It's
a
not that
federal
either.
administration
Oh, really?
that makes it harder to develop our resources resources.
That's
makes
my
it harder
individual
to
problem.
build things, and wants to throw people in jail for
Dickheads
not
bought all the
doing
fucking townhouses.
everything exactly as Kamala Harris says they have to do. And what that means is that you have a lot of people who would love to build
It's
homes
a pretty
who aren't able to
long-winded
build
explanation,
homes.
though.
I actually agree with Tim Waltz.
On the
We
break.
should get out of this idea of housing as a commodity. But the thing that has
All he wants
most
to watch
turned
this, then
housing
go to
into a
sleep.
commodity is
Kinda.
giving it
I wanna
away
watch
to
it.
millions upon millions of people who have no legal right to be here.
What are the federal regulations? I deal with this as a governor.
You can very quickly reply.
I'm sorry. I get this as a
Thought it was
governor,
his turn.
and I don't necessarily disagree with that. That in some cases, many of those are local, many of them are state. I don't know which ones are federal, but I think whenever we talk regulations, people think they can get rid of them. I think you want to be able to get out of your house in a fire. I think you want to make sure that it's fireproof and those types of things. So which are the regulations? Because the vice president's not responsible for those. Congress writes those.
Governor, thank you, gentlemen.
Ooh, got him. Got
we
him.
have a lot to get to. You're passionate about the housing crisis, I can tell.
Vance
But
was
Nora?
about to answer.
you.
He's like,
One of the top problems facing Americans
This is my
the
Ted
high
Lasso
cost
move right
of
here.
healthcare. Senator Vance, at the last presidential debate, former President Trump was asked about replacing the Affordable Care Act.
Oh, boy.
In response,
Concepts
he
time.
said, I have concepts of a plan. Since then, Senator, you've talked about changing how chronically ill Americans get health insurance.
I have concepts
Can
of
you
jokes.
explain how that would work? And can you guarantee that
I have
Americans
tinglings
with
at the thought.
pre-existing conditions won't pay more? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Well, of course, we're going to cover Americans with pre-existing conditions. In
How?
fact, a lot of my family members have gotten health care. I believe, members of my family actually got private health insurance, at least for the first time, switched off of Medicaid onto private insurance
Wonder
for
if
the
there's
first
anybody
time
on this call
under
that
Donald
has
Trump's
pre-existing
leadership. And I think
conditions.
that a lot of people have criticized this
No.
concept.
Yeah,
So
Ollie's got
it's
diabetes.
very simple.
Yeah, is there anyone
common
on
sense.
this
I
call
think
that
it's Tim
doesn't
Walz
have a
knows from 12
pre-existing
years in
condition?
Congress. You're not going to propose a 900-page bill.
I have a million allergies.
on a debate stage. It would bore everybody to tears.
I'm
and it
healthy
wouldn't
as a
actually
Southern
mean anything
Canadian.
Because part
He's
of
from
this is
fucking
the give and
Minnesota.
take
Of course he's built
bipartisan
like a shit brick
negotiation.
house.
Now, when Donald Trump
Ain't
was
taking him
actually
down.
president, and again, he has a
He's got
record to be
welts in his
proud of,
veins.
Prescription drugs
He's from
fell in
Nebraska.
2018 for the first time in a very long time. Under Kamala Harris,
Running on 100% diesel walls.
7%. Under Donald Trump's entire 4 years, they were up about 1.5%. He introduced pricing transparency. Think about healthcare. You go into a hospital, you try to buy something, and nobody knows what it actually costs. That price transparency will actually give American
they know.
consumers
The
a little
hospital
bit more
knows.
choice,
They just fucking
and it'll
lie
also
about
drive
it.
down
Yeah.
costs. And we talked about, the
No Surprise
reinsurance
Act actually
regulations
is kinda
what I was
nice.
talking about. Look, Donald Trump has said that if we allow states to experiment a little bit on how to cover both the chronically ill but the non-chronically ill, it's not just a plan. He actually implemented some of these regulations when he was president of the United States. And I think you can make a really good argument that it salvaged Obamacare, which was doing disastrously until Donald Trump came along.
It was not.
I think it's an
It was
important point
not.
about President
If
Trump.
only you
Of course,
Republicans
I
weren't
agree with
dragging it
everything
through the
that
razor
President Trump
wire.
has ever
Yeah,
said
right.
or ever done.
Hashtag go
When
Obamacare.
If
was
you want a really
crushing
quick
under the
reason
weight of
why
its
they
own
hate
regulatory
Obamacare,
burden and healthcare
it's because of the required notification that doctors have to give about where they accept money from. And so the pharmacology and medical device now have to be fully transparent in how much money they receive from these. So it's taken a lot of people out of the stream, and it also shows people like the anti-vax crowd where they get their money from, and so they don't really like this.
Stop snitching.
costs.
Snitches
Donald
get
Trump
stitches.
could have destroyed the program. Instead,
That's floor
he
two.
worked in a bipartisan way to ensure that Americans had access to affordable care. It's not perfect, of course, and there's so much more that we can do.
Ooh, we
but
got
I
Neil
think
in
that
the
Donald
chat.
Trump has earned the
Neil.
right to put in place some better health care policies.
I'm gonna send
He's
Neil a
earned it
link if he
because
wants
he
to
did
join
it
us.
successfully
Sure.
the first time.
Governor?
Just a second.
All right, here's where being an old guy gives you some history. I was
there it
there
is.
at the creation of the ACA.
Earth.
And the
Oh.
reason it was so important is
Oh.
I come from a major
He's not
healthcare
Biden.
state, home
You're
of
right.
the Mayo Clinic, home to Medical Alley, 3M, Medtronic, all of those. We
3M makes
understand
fucking
healthcare. It's
everything.
why we're ranked first on affordability and accessibility and quality of healthcare. And so what I know is under Kamala Harris, more people are covered than they have before. And those of you listening, this is critical to you. Now, Donald Trump
got
all of
the
a sudden
bracelets
wants
on
to
his daughters
go
made
back
him.
And remember this. He ran on the
They're
first
like
thing
little
he was going to
bead
do on day
bracelets.
one was to
That's because he's a human.
Obamacare.
Oh, that's
On
so
day one,
adorable.
He tried to sign an executive order to repeal
Check your
the ACA.
X there, Neil.
He signed on to a lawsuit to repeal the
Neil
ACA.
said sleepy, go bed.
And he would have repealed the ACA had it not been for the courage of John McCain to save that bill.
Yes.
Yep.
Now, fast forward, what that means to you is you lose your pre-existing conditions. If you're sitting at home and you got asthma, too bad. If you're a woman, probably not. Broke your foot during football, might kick you out. Your kids get kicked out when they're 26.
Damn.
Kamala Harris
Too bad,
negotiated
women.
drug prices for the first time with
Women
Medicare.
and
We have
football
10
players?
drugs that will come
That's a
online.
pretty substantial
Most
part of
common
our
ones that'll
society.
be there.
Yeah, it's like
Now,
most
look,
people.
This issue, and when Donald Trump said, I've got a concept of a plan, it cracked me up as a fourth grade teacher because my kids would have never given me that. But what Senator Vance just explained might be worse than a concept.
Donald Trump, are you
Because
smarter
what
than a
he
fourth grader?
explained is pre-Obamacare. And I'll make this as simple as possible because I have done this for a long time. What they're saying is, if you're healthy, why should you be paying more? So what they're going to do is let insurance companies pick who they insure, because guess what happens? You pay your premium, it's not much. They figure they're not going to have to pay out to you. But those of you a little older, gray, got cancer, you're going to get kicked out of it. That's why the system didn't work. Kamala Harris will protect and enhance the ACA.
Governor, thank you. Senator, you have not yet explained how you would protect people with pre-existing conditions or laid out that plan.
Well, look, we currently have laws and regulations in place right now that protect people with pre-existing conditions. We want to keep those regulations in place.
Yeah,
but
no
we
thanks
also
to
want
you.
make the health insurance marketplace function a little bit better. Now, what Governor Walz just said is actually not true. A lot of what happened, and the reason that Obamacare was crushing under its own weight, is that a lot of young and healthy people were leaving the exchanges. Donald Trump actually helped address that problem, and he did so in a way that preserved people's access to coverage who had pre-existing conditions. But again, something that these guys do is they make a lot of claims.
Now who's
about
lying?
if Donald Trump becomes president, all of these terrible consequences are going to ensue.
That's
but
true.
in reality, Donald Trump was
He is a
president.
slimy
Inflation was
individual.
low. Take-home pay was higher, and he saved the very program from a Democratic administration that was collapsing and would have collapsed absent
wasn't,
his
and he
leadership.
didn't.
He did his
He
job,
just
which
says
is
shit.
govern in a bipartisan way and get results, not just complain about problems, but actually solve them.
Governor, did enrollment under the
You know, the
Affordable
Affordable
Care
Care
Act go
Act
up
starts
under
fires.
the Trump administration?
Take-home pay
now,
today is
but we've
higher
seen
than it
go
was
up.
in
Look, people are using
2019
it. The
based
system
on a
works.
real
And
basis.
the question about this of young people or whatever, that's the individual mandate piece of this. And Republicans fought tooth and nail saying, well, Americans should be free to do this. Well, then
So
what
you
happens
think the
is
individual mandate's a good idea?
you shrink. I think
Why
the
are you
idea of
talking,
making sure the
Joffrey?
risk pool is broad enough to cover
Coach
everyone,
is
that's
talking.
the only way insurance works.
Take a knee.
When it doesn't, it collapses. You are asking pre-ACA where we get people out. Look, people know
I would pay money for
that
him
they
to say
need to
that.
be on health.
Take a knee, little
People
man.
expect it to be there, and when we are
Hey,
able
Mikey,
to make it,
can
and
you
we
pause
are
this for a
making it
second?
this way,
I have info.
Info.
So, the ACA enrollment per year,
Obamacare.
in 2016, or let's say 2017, when Trump became president officially,
Okay.
enrollment was about 27 million for that year.
Okay.
It stayed that way until 2021, when it became 30 million, and in 2024 it's 45 million. So Trump actually stagnated enrollment. It only increased by 1 million over 4 years.
Well, that's because women weren't allowed to get any kind of care anywhere at any fucking anything, because they were like, well, you're pregnant? Oh, that's a pre-existing condition.
But under the Biden-Harris administration, it has almost doubled as enrollment per year.
Neil, we don't want to hear about your sex life.
You don't. Hey, speak for yourself. You don't know what I'm into tonight. You don't know where I'm
Play
at.
the thing. Play the thing. There it is.
Or this thing.
And they were coming right on top of me. And within about 3 or 4 seconds, I was covered with bodies.
when we incentivize people to be in the
just
market,
had to stop it
when we
covered.
help people who might not be able to afford
You know the
to get there,
kinkiest thing you
and
can
we
listen
make
to
sure
is a football broadcast?
Oh yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
then
No
you
context.
Really
too.
getting that
old,
penetration
it's
between those between the tight end.
Debate.
you, because I heard people say, well, I don't I don't want to buy into Medicare or whatever. Good luck buying health
Having
care
an
once you
advance
get
right
past
now.
70. So look, the ACA works. We can continue to do better. Kamala Harris did that. The way she made everything better was negotiating those 10 drugs on Medicare for the first time in American history.
Thank you, Margaret.
Can I
We're-
address that?
I apologize. We're out of time. We have a number of
Oh,
subjects to discuss.
too bad.
Margaret,
Gotta
talk
go.
about families
Whoops.
in America.
Eat a dick.
There is a child care crisis in this country, and the United States is one of the very few developed countries in the
Feeding the
world
kids is coming up
without
now.
a national
That's gonna get
paid leave
ticked.
program for new parents.
Did we put eating
Governor
the kids
Walz,
out there?
you said that if Democrats
No.
win
This isn't
both
an
the White
atheist
House
debate.
and Congress, this is a day one priority
No,
for
but
you.
you know the
How
whole
long should
QAnon.
employers
Feeding
be
the kids,
required
not
to
eating
pay
them.
workers
What the fuck
while
are
they
you
are
talking
home
about?
taking
Feeding
care
the
of
kids.
their
That was
I
like,
said
damn.
feeding with an F, you
Well,
fucker.
that's negotiable.
I
And
made
that's what
pulled
Congress
pork.
did. But here's what the deal is.
I made
Eating the children.
I
Americans
made
sitting out
pulled
there
pork,
right now,
but my
you
daughter
may
is
work for a
upstairs
big company.
sleeping.
Look, we're home in Minnesota to some of the largest Fortune 500 companies. Kamala Harris knows that in California. Those companies provide paid family and medical leave. One is, I think they're moral and they think it's a good thing, but it also keeps their employees healthy. We in Minnesota passed a paid family and medical leave. You have a child, and I had
Don't
to go
you
back to
know.
work 5 days after my kids were born. This allows you to stay home a certain amount of time. What we know is that gets the child off to a better start, the family works better, we stay in their employers,
Yeah,
we
we-
get more
we
consistency.
got that in
in
Connecticut
So
recently,
Kamala
too.
Harris has made it a priority. We implemented it in Minnesota, and we see growth. That's how you become a pro-business state. But the negotiations on it, and here's the issue. Those big companies are able to offer it. Those of you out there who don't have it, just imagine what happens if you get cancer or your child gets sick. We know what happens. You end up staying home. In some
I
places,
know what
that means
happens.
no paycheck because you've got no protection on that. This is the case of an economy that Donald Trump
Come on,
has
Vance,
set
agree with
for
him.
the wealthiest amongst us. He's willing to
Just
give
start
those
nodding, Vance.
tax breaks to
Those
the wealthiest.
plugs are showing
He's
real
willing
bad.
to say, bust those
Dumb,
unions
dumb
up, do
man.
whatever. What we're saying is the economy works best when it works for all of us. And so a paid family medical leave program, and I will
tried
tell
to
you,
read his
go
own
to
handwriting.
the families or
Couldn't
go to
do
the
it.
businesses and ask
Gave
them.
up.
As
Be-
far as
be
child
better.
care on this,
Okay.
you have to take it at both the supply and the demand side.
Don't suck.
You can't expect the most important
When we
people in
get
our
to a
lives
break, I would
take
like
care
to
of our children
explain how paid
or our
medical
parents
leave
to
actually
get paid
works.
the least amount of money. And we have to make it easier for folks to be able to get into that business and then to make sure that folks are able to pay
Wall's
for
is
that. We
fucking
were
running
able to do it
circles
in
around this
Minnesota,
guy.
and I'm still telling
Yeah.
you this. We were listed as the best state. We're still in crisis on this. A federal program of paid family and medical leave and help with this will enhance our workforce, enhance our families, and make it easier to have the children that you want.
Governor, your time is up. Senator, do
Bum,
you
bum,
support a
bum.
national paid leave program? And if so, for how long should employers be mandated to pay their employees while they are home taking care of their newborn? You have
He's
2
actually
minutes.
pro
Yeah, well,
child
first of all,
labor.
Margaret, a number
1
of my
year.
Republican colleagues and some Democrats too have worked on this issue, and I think there is a bipartisan solution here because a lot of us care about this issue.
All right.
I mean,
You
look,
agreed with them.
I
All right.
speak from this very
Telling you,
personally
by the end of
because
the debate,
I'm
he'll be a
married to
Democrat.
a beautiful woman who is an incredible mother to our 3 beautiful kids, but is also a very, very brilliant corporate litigator. And I'm so proud of her.
Take my wife,
But
please.
being a working mom, even for somebody with all of the advantages of my wife, is extraordinarily difficult. And it's not just difficult from a policy perspective. She actually had access to paid family leave because she worked for a bigger company. But the cultural pressure on young families and especially young women, I think makes it really hard
He's
for
about to
people
say, "I don't
to
want
choose
my
the
wife to
family
work."
model they want. A lot of young women would like to go back to
Oh,
work
shit.
immediately. Some would like to spend a little time home with the kids. Some would like to spend longer at home with the kids. We should have a family care model that makes choice possible. And I think this is a very important substantive difference between Donald Trump
pro-choice.
and Kamala Harris.
He's pro-choice, you heard
I mean,
it.
look, if you
He's
look at the
pro-choice.
federal programs that we have that support paid
Pro-choice,
family leave right
from
now,
Obamacare,
the Community Development Block Grant, and
pro-gun
there's another
control.
block grant program that spends a lot of money from the federal government. These programs
J.D.
only
Vance,
go to
secret
one
Democrat.
kind of child care model. Let's say you'd like
Not
your
anymore.
church, maybe you live in a rural area or an urban area, and you'd like to get together with families in your neighborhood to provide child care in the way that makes the most sense. You don't get
Oh my
access
God,
to any
Vance,
of these
you
federal
fucking
monies.
idiot.
We want to promote choice in how we deliver family care and how we promote child care because look, it is unacceptable.
You saw the cover of It
you
Takes
know,
a Village,
Sim
and
I
he's
have been on the
taking it
campaign trail
literally.
a lot the past 7 or 8 weeks, and one of the biggest complaints I hear from young families is people who feel like they don't have options, like they're choosing between going to work or taking care for their kids. That is an incredible burden to put on American families. We're the only country that does it. I think we could do a heck of a lot better.
Senator, thank you. You have also said, Senator
Senator,
Vance,
what party do you belong
many
to?
things about the American family. The Federal Reserve says parents will spend nearly as much on child care as they do on housing each month.
Ouch.
So I want to get your thoughts on this. President Trump recently said, as much as child care is talked about as being expensive, it's relatively speaking not very expensive compared to the kinds of numbers we'll be taking in. Is President Trump committed to the $5,000 per child tax credit that you have described? You have 1 minute.
Well, what President Trump said, Margaret, I just want to defend my running mate here a little bit, is that we're going to be taking in a lot of money by penalizing companies for shipping jobs overseas and penalizing countries who employ slave laborers and then ship their products back into our country and undercut the wages of American workers. It's the heart of the Donald Trump economic plan.
Give me
Cut
some.
taxes for American workers
euphemism?
and American families. Cut taxes for businesses that are hiring
what I
and
said
building
was-
companies in the United States of America, but penalize companies and countries that are shipping
Mikey, you
jobs
give up that
overseas.
pulled pork
That's the heart
right
of the
now.
economic proposal. And I think what President Trump is saying is that when we bring in this additional revenue with higher economic growth, we're going to be able to provide paid family leave, child care options that are viable and workable for a lot of American families.
Hey, Alma.
Can you clarify how that will solve the child care shortage?
Well, because as Tim said, a lot of the child care shortage is we just don't have enough resources going into the multiple people who could be providing
And how are you going to
family
get
care
them there,
options.
Vance?
And we're going to have
How?
to, unfortunately, look, we're going to have to spend more money. We're going to have to induce more people
my
to
God,
want to
he says
provide
spend
child
money.
care options for American families. Because the reason it's so expensive right now is because you've got way too few
Fucking
people
Democratic
providing this very
senator
essential
from
service.
Ohio, J.D. Vance.
Thank you, Senator. Governor Walz, your
Communist.
ticket also has some child care tax credit proposals. Do you think Congress
Pretty soon
will
we're gonna be a
agree
communist
to the
country.
$6,000 credit for newborns and $3,000 credit for children over the age of 6?
Pretty soon we're gonna be
as your
communist
campaign
country.
has promised. Is that realistic?
Well, if these members of Congress are listening to anybody, I can tell you, and this is the biggest issue. Everybody listening tonight knows. I mean, I'm sure they were shocked to hear it's not that expensive. And let's be clear, whether it's $5,000 or $6,000, that pays you about 3 or 4 months. Let's be clear of where we're at on this. It's because we got out of an imbalance on this. We thought we were going to get by not paying people. I don't think Senator Vance and I are that far apart. I'm not opposed to what he's talking about on options. We've done scholarships types of things. I think we need to be open to making the case. But the issue here is, the question you asked is, you're not going to pay for it with these tariffs. That's just adding another $4,000 on the family and taking less. So not only do they not get the money to pay for that, they're $4,000
It's like,
in the
no,
hole.
that's
Warden
wrong.
School.
That's-
his
No,
alma
that can't
mater.
be true.
And
It's
so I
bad.
think the issue here is,
Well, not
if
in the
those
way
members of
I would
Congress,
do it.
I can't believe they're not. When I go to businesses, sure, they'll talk about taxes sometime, but they will lead with childcare and they will lead with housing, because we know the problem is, especially in a state like Minnesota, we need more workers because our economy's growing, but we need the workforce.
Governor, thank you. We need to move on. Nora?
You don't know
Let's
nothing
talk
about
the
that,
state
JD.
of democracy, the top issue for Americans after the economy
Democracy.
and inflation. After the 2020
Go.
election, President Trump's campaign and others filed 62 lawsuits contesting the results. Judges, including those appointed
You
by
didn't
President
win
Trump and
any
other
of them.
Republican presidents, looked at the evidence and said there was no widespread fraud. The governors of every state in the nation, Republicans and Democrats, certified the 2020 election results and sent a legal slate
may be
of
the gummy
electors
talking,
to
but that's
Congress
hilarious.
for
It is.
January 6th. Senator Vance, you have said you would not have certified the last presidential election and would have
What?
asked the states to submit alternative
Why are you a
electors.
secret fascist?
That has been called unconstitutional and
Tim, it's
illegal.
not a secret.
Would you
That's
again
true.
seek to challenge this year's election results, even if every governor certifies the results? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Well, Nora, first of all, I think that we're focused on the future. We need to figure out how to solve the
Yeah,
inflation
he doesn't want to
crisis
answer
caused
any
by
of that.
Kamala Harris's
He doesn't want to
policies.
answer
Make
any of
housing
that.
affordable, make groceries affordable.
completely avoiding.
And that's what we're focused on. But I want to answer your question
That's a
because
hard
of
like
that.
democracy.
What President Trump has said is that there were problems in 2020, and my
answer the
own belief
question.
is that we should fight about those issues, debate those issues peacefully in the public square, and that's all I've said, and that's all that Donald
Nah,
Trump
bro.
has said. Remember,
That's not what
he
you
said
said.
that on January the
You said
6th, the protesters
you wouldn't
ought
have
to
certified
protest
the election
peacefully.
if you were
And
vice
on January
president.
the 20th, what happened? Joe Biden became the president. Donald Trump left the White House, and now, of course, unfortunately, we have
He didn't
all
go
of the
willingly,
negative
bro.
policies
You're too
that come
honest,
from
Mike.
the Harris-Biden administration.
That's an
I
exact
believe
quote
that we
from
actually
Trump.
do have a threat to democracy in this country, but unfortunately, it's not the threat to democracy that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz want to talk about.
Oh, fuck
It is the
off.
threat of censorship. It's Americans
Censorship?
casting aside
Oh, fuck
lifelong
off.
friendships because of disagreements over politics. It's big technology companies silencing their fellow citizens, and it's Kamala Harris saying
Elon and
that
Twitter?
rather than debate and persuade her fellow Americans, she'd
Or
like to
fucking
censor people
Zuckerberg?
who
Which
engage
one are you
in
talking about,
misinformation.
Vance?
I think that is a much bigger threat to democracy than anything that we've seen in this country in the last 4 years, in the last 40 years. Now, I'm really proud,
give me that
especially
sandwich.
given that
I
I was
want it.
raised by two lifelong blue-collar Democrats, to have the endorsement of Bobby Kennedy
what's
Jr.
your
and
sauce?
Tulsi Gabbard, lifelong leaders in the Democratic coalition. And of course, they don't
Damn
agree
straight.
with me and Donald Trump on every issue. We don't have to agree on
I
every
would've bought the
issue,
spicy
but
with the
we're
whiteboard.
united behind a basic American First Amendment principle that we ought to debate our differences. We ought to argue about them. We ought to try to persuade our fellow
Yeah, but
Americans.
libel
Kamala
and
Harris
hate
is
speech
engaged in
exist.
censorship at an industrial scale. She did
Blatant
it during COVID. She's
fraud.
done it over a number of other issues, and that to me is a much bigger threat to democracy than what Donald Trump said when he said that
Or
protesters
did.
should
Or
peacefully
did.
protest on January the 6th.
Governor?
He tried to overthrow
Well,
the
I've enjoyed
government.
tonight's debate, and I think there was a lot of commonality here. And I'm,
Did a
I'm
lazy
sympathetic
coup.
to misspeaking on things, and I think I might have with the senator. But
me
there's,
too, man.
There's one though that this one is troubling to me, and I say that because I think we need to tell the story. Donald Trump refused to acknowledge this, and the fact is that I don't think we can be the frog in the pot and let the boiling water go up. He was very clear. I mean, he lost this election,
Midwestern
and he
food
said he
reference.
Yeah,
did.
it
140
is.
police officers were beaten
Oh,
at the
yeah.
Capitol that day.
Frog pot.
Some with the American
Mark,
flag.
you eat a lot of
Several
frog,
later
right?
died. And it wasn't just in there.
No, that's
In
not a thing here.
Minnesota, a group gathered on the state capitol grounds
fish eat the
in St.
frogs
Paul
there.
and said, "We're marching
We
to
eat
the
the
governor's
fish.
residence, and
You're
there
making
may
the
be
frickin'
casualties."
frogs gay.
The only person there was my son and his dog, who was rushed out crying by state police. That issue, and Mike Pence standing there as they were chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." Mike Pence made the right
Hey, Mike
decision.
Pence.
So
That's a big
Hey,
product.
it was
they said,
adjudicated
hey,
over and
Mike
over and over.
Pence.
No,
I
Tim,
worked with
stop
kids long
it.
enough to
What the
know,
fuck
and
is
I said,
wrong
as
with
a
everybody
football coach,
tonight?
sometimes you really want to win.
Hung
but
Mike
the
Pence.
democracy
He
is
just had a
bigger
big
than winning an
Johnson.
election.
Yep.
You shake hands, and then you
Like
try and
Lyndon
do
B.
everything you
Johnson.
can to help
They
the
were
other
wi-
side win.
They were just
That's-
waving to
that's
him.
what was at stake here. Now, the thing I'm most concerned about
Yes.
is the
Hi,
idea
Tim.
that imprisoning your
Mark.
Stop
your
it.
political opponents, already laying the groundwork for people not accepting this. And a president's words matter.
Fucking white people, knock it the fuck off.
A president's words
We don't know what
People
consequences
hear
are.
that. So
Well, my
I
camera's
think
all the way up
this issue
here.
of settling our differences at the
Dr. Umar was right about you.
ballot box,
Can't reach it.
shaking hands when we lose, being honest about it, but to deny what happened on January 6th, the first time in American history that a president or anyone tried to overturn a fair election and the peaceful transfer of power. And here we are 4 years later in the same boat. I will tell you this, that when this is over, we need to shake hands this election, and the winner needs to be the winner. This has got to stop. It's tearing our country apart.
Ooh,
Margaret?
the race is far too close for any of
Senator
that shit
Vance,
to
did you want to
actually
respond to
happen.
Yeah, well, look, Tim, first of all,
International Civil War
it's
II.
really rich for Democratic leaders to say that Donald Trump is a unique threat to democracy when he peacefully gave over power on January the 20th, as we have done for 250 years in this country. We are going to shake hands after this
Yeah, I'm
debate and
gonna
after
go
this
ahead and
election.
say
Of
fuck
course,
that.
I hope that we win, and I think we're going to win. But if Tim Walz is the next vice president, he'll have my prayers, he'll have my best wishes, and he'll have my help whenever he
Oh,
wants
good.
it.
Oh,
But
that's
we have
good.
to
Running from the
remember that
mob.
For years in this country,
Yeah, right.
Think about
Democrats
those words now.
protested the results of
Sprinting
elections.
from the mob.
Hillary Clinton in 2016 said that Donald Trump had the election stolen by Vladimir Putin because the Russians bought like $500,000 worth of Facebook ads. This has been going on.
I mean,
for
that-
a
Lied about
long
the
time.
election and
if we
tricked
want to say
people.
that we
Yeah,
need to
that
respect the results
happened,
of the
but
election,
she didn't
I'm on
fucking
board.
try to
But if we
storm
want
the
to say,
Capitol
as Tim
over
Walz
it.
is saying that this is just a problem that
went with her.
Republicans have had,
Yeah.
I don't buy that.
Yeah, it would have been her.
Governor.
Just her.
January 6th was not
Smearing her own
Facebook
poop.
ads. And I think a revisionist history on this. Look, I
You get them,
don't
Walz. You
understand
get
how
them.
we got to this point.
Yeah, call
but
him
the
a liar.
issue was that happened. Donald Trump can do it. And all of us say there's no place for this. It has massive repercussions. This idea that there's censorship to stop people from doing threatening to kill someone, threatening to do something.
Hey,
That's not
TOS,
not
Walls.
censorship. Censorship
Yeah,
is
well,
book
geez.
banning. We've seen that. We've seen that brought up. I just think for everyone tonight, and I'm going to thank Senator Vance. I think this is the conversation they want to hear. And I think there's a lot of agreement. But this is one that we are miles apart on. This was a threat to our democracy in a way that we had not seen. And it manifested itself because of Donald Trump's inability to say. He is still saying he didn't lose the election. I would just ask that. Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans
Wow.
from speaking
Answer the
their mind
fucking
in the
question.
wake of
He
the 2020
fucking
COVID
nailed him on
situation?
that one.
That is
Ask
a
him
damning-
again.
That is a damning non-answer.
Has she? It's a damning non-answer for you to not talk about
Victory.
censorship. Obviously, Donald Trump and I think that there
Dun,
were problems in
dun,
2020.
dun.
We've
Ooh,
talked
he's
about
shook
it.
now.
I'm
He's
happy
shook.
to talk about it further. But you guys attack us for not believing in
Because
democracy.
you're
The
fascists.
most sacred right under the United States democracy is the First Amendment. You yourself
Plenty of
have
things
said
that-
there's
plenty
no
of things are
First
bad and
Amendment
wrong. It
right
doesn't
to
make him
misinformation.
fascist.
Kamala Harris wants to use the
threatening or
power
hate
of
speech.
government
That's all. There's plenty
and
of things
big
that are bad
tech
and
to
wrong, but it
silence
doesn't
people
make
from
them
speaking their
fascist.
minds. That is a threat to democracy that will long outlive this present political moment. I would like Democrats and Republicans to both reject censorship. Let's persuade one another. Let's argue about
Waltz is
ideas,
gonna
and then
tear
let's
into
come
him.
together afterwards.
You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. That's the
Oh.
test. That's the Supreme Court test.
Tim, fire in a crowded theater. You guys wanted to kick people off of Facebook for saying that toddlers shouldn't
Senator,
wear
the
masks.
governor does
That's
have the
not
floor.
Fire in a crowded theater. That is criticizing the policies of the government, which is the right of every American.
Senator,
Trump
the
wants to
governor does
sue
have the floor for 1
ABC
minute
over the
to
last
respond to
debate,
you.
saying it was rigged.
Well, I don't run Facebook. What I do know is I see a candidate out there who refused, and now again, and this I'm pretty shocked by this. He lost the election. This is not a debate. It's not anything
debate.
anywhere other than in
Unfortunately.
Donald Trump's world. Because look, when Mike Pence made that decision to certify that election, that's why Mike Pence isn't on this stage.
Right.
What I'm concerned about
Ooh.
is where is the
You better watch out for your
firewall
job, buddy boy.
with Donald Trump? Where
Say the
is
wrong thing.
firewall if he
Trump was in a crowd
knows
after you.
he could do anything, including taking an election, and his vice president's not going to stand to it? That's what we're asking you, America. Will you stand up? Will you keep your oath of office, even if the president doesn't? And I think Kamala Harris would agree. She wouldn't have picked me if she didn't think I would do that, because of course that's what we would do. So America, I think you've got a really clear choice on this election of who's going to honor that democracy and who's going to honor Donald Trump.
Governor, your time is up. Thank you, gentlemen. We will be right back with both of our candidates. The CBS News Vice Presidential
talk about something
debate
sweet?
continues.
My soul hurts.
Jordan, Amy Walter, and Laura Lopez in
Something.
Arizona. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, don't go
I don't
anywhere.
remember
Our
what was it
coverage
about.
continues with Lisa and Laura. Y'all are
Paid
housing
leave?
or paid leave?
Okay, so here. Divorce rates fall by 1/3 if you have paid paternity leave. So keep this is a running chain of things.
Okay.
Two-parent households are vital for child development. I'm not going to say, who the two parents have to be, but two-parent household.
Yeah, no matter the configuration.
However it's configured, whatever. But specifically in this statistical reference, we're talking about the heteronormative, man-woman, because that's
30 seconds.
I don't know, a lot of the population, put it that way. Two-parent households have a 50% reduction in poverty.
Yeah.
Poverty is the #1 driver of crime. If you're not in poverty, crime falls by nearly 38%, or propensity to commit a crime, something along those lines. Paid paternity leave could then be said to sit, or could then easily be said that it would reduce the overall crime rate.
Yep.
Yeah, because
That all follows.
they're not desperate. Broke people commit crimes. Well, most crimes. Most of the crime that gets reported on.
Yeah, but it's the greatest anti-poverty measure is to not be in poverty, or is to have a stable two-parent household, and the best way to do that is paid leave.
Another little quick reminder, guys, if you want to play your own VP Bingo,
You're a dork.
By the way, Mikey, go on my Facebook
Go on.
timeline where I linked all the sources to that.
I will do that.
Fake news.
At some point.
How come you didn't actually fill in the boxes?
What are you talking about?
You put the what we were looking for in all those boxes, then you would have had a line or a cross. That's how you play bingo, right? Do you know how to play bingo?
Do you know how to play bingo? Do you know how
I
to make
do.
your own goddamn bingo card? Well, then why
Well,
you worried about what's going on over here then?
The card has to have things filled
I'm
in it.
just
It
saying,
just can't be a whole bunch of
you
blanks.
know how to make a card. Why didn't you make a card and send it to me since you know so much?
Well, you made a card for us.
I have it on a sheet over here. It's all over here. And I'm just highlighting them as we go through. Well, you want me to go into fucking Photoshop while I'm running a fucking stream? That is not happening. It will crash my shit. I am not doing that. I thought about it.
In 2017, when Hurricane Matthew hit North Carolina, the governor asked for $900 million in aid. He got $6.1 million in federal aid. And who was president in 2017?
Obama.
Yeah.
Nope.
It was the Bush-Pence ticket.
Oh God.
Oh, I
They
also
hated
want
each other.
to point out they're trying to target Biden as not giving a shit about this most recent hurricane. He pre-signed all the forms requesting FEMA aid for when they were going to need it, days before the actual hurricane hit.
Yep.
And actually, there
Fuck
were
off.
tweets. There were tweets that were like 6 hours after the announcement. You know, like he denied or he hasn't even done anything or whatever, and people are like, "Dude, this was
Preemptively did it.
He did it last night, bro.
Yeah, he preempted it. He saw it coming and he said, "Sign the papers. Give them what they need."
I mean,
but he did not draw on a NOAA map
right,
to
a big-
deflect it
with a Sharpie.
It's
Oh,
going
the
that
Sharpie.
way.
He
So-
thought he could magic it away.
I'm just
or drop nukes on it.
I'm just
Ooh, nuke
wondering.
it.
I'm just wondering why they were surprised. The dude's 3,000 years old. His trash has been out for 2 weeks ahead of time. Like this dude knew that hurricane was coming, and he had pre-signed that shit 3 weeks ago.
Yep. When you're that old, you can feel a hurricane in your
Yeah,
knees.
and he just started signing. He just woke
My
up. in the
knee
middle of-
hurts.
Middle of the
Give
night.
me my pen.
Middle of the night, just kicked off the sheets and started signing shit.
Oh, Mikey, I don't know if you can disrupt it and share what I just put in the chat.
Oh, I've seen
God,
that.
Why
Yep.
Why do you guys do this shit to me?
Is there still debate left? Is there still debate
Yes,
left?
there is
Yeah,
still
that's-
debate left. Let's
let's
finish
get to it
watching
then.
the
Let's,
debate.
let's finish watching it.
Okay, and we'll share that other thing
They're
later.
they're just on break or whatever.
We can talk about that tomorrow if we could do another show.
It's my wife's birthday,
Or-
so you guys are on your own.
Yeah, we're not doing a show
Tomorrow? Okay, good enough.
Tell your wife I said happy birthday.
She's finally
birthday.
29.
Damn.
For the how manyth time?
I'm not allowed to say or I get.
I had a birthday card for my wife made last year that was happy 14th anniversary of your 29th birthday.
There you go.
And now you're getting beat.
How many
Press
fingers
the
did you
play
lose?
button.
Bro, it is played.
Oh, it's over? All right.
It's not over.
It's on
There
a
are
break.
closing statements. It's already done.
There's no
But
closing.
we didn't. There was no closing
No, there-
statements.
There are. My fiance also was watching it. The
Oh,
closing
we
statements
skipped
happened.
it.
We skipped it. All right.
Yeah, because I think this
Damn
is where
it,
they
Mikey.
went off. Well, I hit the live, and we were only a couple minutes away. Okay, I think this is it.
Oh, well, we were actually 20 minutes away.
Uh-oh.
Time for the closing statement. Senator
we go.
Vance won the virtual coin toss and elected to go last. So Governor
A
Walz,
virtual
you
coin
That
toss.
couldn't afford a
I'm-
quarter.
Leave it, Paul. I have one prediction
Okay.
that he's going to list how many times, Walz will list how many times Vance said Kamala's policies, Kamala's leadership. It needs to be like, Biden's president, and this is how many times he was wrong.
Yeah, he's been writing them down.
He's not
every
going to say
time.
that. He's not going to say that. You're
Yeah.
wrong. He's just he's going to avoid it.
He's been writing.
I
it
think he's
down.
going
He's
for
been
it.
taking a note every time he said, and that was under
think?
Biden's leadership, and he was under Harris's leadership, and he was like, "Oh, okay," and he would make a little note. I'm like, "Oh, he's taking it down for the end. I got you."
I know
Maybe.
it's still a long shot, but in his closing remarks, Walz is going to call Vance a couch fucker.
Yeah, you got a couple minutes left, Tim. Your chip
A
is still on the
recliner
table.
and a recliner enthusiast.
You are first. You have 2 minutes.
Well, thank you, Senator Vance. Thank you to CBS News. And most importantly, thank you to all of you. If you're still up and the folks who missed Dancing with the Stars, I appreciate it. But look, the support of the democracy matters. It matters that you're here. And I'm as surprised as
Not my
anybody
birthday, for
of
the
this
wifey.
coalition that Kamala Harris has built, from Bernie Sanders to Dick Cheney to Taylor Swift, and a whole bunch of folks in between there. And they don't all
Taylor
agree on
Swift.
everything, but they are
Man, we
truly
should put
optimistic
Taylor Swift on the
people.
thing.
They believe in a positive future of this
Stop saying her
country
name.
and one where our politics can
Why?
be better
gonna
than
die.
it is. And I have to tell you, that
Taylor Swift.
that
We're
better
gonna
than
fuck
it
up,
is
Tim.
the sense of optimism that
7
there can be an
days.
opportunity economy that works for everyone, not just to get by, but to get ahead. And the idea that freedom really means something. Not the freedom of government to be in your bedroom or exam room, but the freedom for you to make choices about yourself. Now, look, we all know who Donald Trump is. He's told us, and as Maya Angelou said, believe him when he told you that. His first inaugural address talked about American carnage, and then he spent 4 years trying to maybe do that. Senator Vance tonight made it clear he will stand with Donald Trump's agenda. He will continue to push down that road. Excuse me. Kamala Harris gives us a different option. Now, I'll have to tell you, I'm going to be careful about the quotes, but there's one that Senator Vance said that does resonate with me. He said, Donald Trump makes the people I care about afraid. A lot of America feels that way. We don't need to be afraid. Franklin Roosevelt was right. All we have to fear is fear itself. Kamala Harris is bringing us a new way forward. She's bringing us a politics of joy. She's bringing real solutions for the middle class, and she's centering you at the heart of that. All the while asking everyone, join this movement, make your voices heard. Let's look for a new day where everybody gets that opportunity and everybody gets a chance to thrive. I humbly ask for your vote on November 5th for Kamala Harris.
Governor Walz, thank you. Senator Vance, your closing statement.
Not bad.
Well, I want to thank Governor
didn't use
Walz,
his name,
you folks at
No, he
CBS,
didn't.
and of course the American people for tuning in this evening. And one of the issues we
Copycat.
didn't talk about was energy. And I remember when I was being raised by my grandmother, when she didn't have enough money to turn on the heat some nights because Ohio gets pretty cold at night, and because money
We
was
did
often
talk
very
about
tight.
energy, though, right?
And I believe, as a person who wants to be your next
Yeah,
vice president,
yeah,
that we
we
are
did.
a rich
We
and
talked about
prosperous
the-
enough country where every American, whether they're rich or poor, ought to be able to turn on their heat in the middle of a cold winter night. That's gotten more difficult thanks to Kamala Harris's energy policies. I
don't
believe
freeze,
that
you
whether
just
you're
don't pay
rich or
the bill.
poor, you ought to be able to afford a nice meal for your family. That's gotten harder because of Kamala Harris's policies. I believe that whether you're rich or poor, you ought to be able to afford to buy a house. You ought to be able to live in safe neighborhoods. You ought to not have your communities
Yeah, away
flooded
from all
with
them
fentanyl.
illegals.
And that too has
Home
gotten harder
ownership
with
is at its
Kamala,
highest
because of
level.
Kamala Harris's policies. Now, I've been in
Anybody?
politics long enough to do what Kamala Harris
Crime
does.
is also
She stands before
massively
the American
decreased.
people and says that on day one, she's going to work on all these challenges I just listed. She's been the vice president for 3.5 years. Day one was 1,400 days ago, and her policies have made these problems worse. Now, I believe that we have the most beautiful country in the world. I meet people on the campaign trail who can't afford food, but have the grace and
Aren't you a
generosity
millionaire, JD?
to ask me how I'm
Yeah,
doing
right.
and to tell me they're praying for my family. What that has
Give 'em your
taught
money.
me is that we have the
Give 'em
greatest
Peter
country, the
Thiel's
most
money.
beautiful country, the most incredible
donate it.
people anywhere in
He's
the
a
world.
goblin.
But they're not going to be able to achieve their full dreams with the broken leadership that we have in Washington. They're not going to be able to live their American dream if we do the same thing that we've been doing for the last 3.5 years. We need change. We need a new direction. We need a president who has already done this once before and did it well. Please vote for
Then how
Donald
is it
Trump.
changed?
And whether you vote for me or vote for Tim Walz, I just want to say I'm so proud to be doing this, and I'm rooting for you. God bless you, and good night.
Senator Vance,
Thank you, secret Democrat.
And thank you both for participating in the only vice
I
presidential
tried to say
debate
this
of
right at
this
the beginning.
election cycle.
They fucked up the stage. They have the fucking the two podiums facing us too much and should have been facing more each other so that they could actually be addressing each other. It's a debate. They need to be going back and forth. It's anyway.
That's not a debate, though. They don't necessarily have to go back. Like, You may not actually talk to your interlocutor in a debate.
Yeah.
But this is a presidential debate.
They don't. Yeah, they don't do that. It's not like a real debate.
It's not like a
there's not-
YouTube. It's not like modern day debate. No.
or it's not. It's
like-
not even. It's not even debate team debate.
Yeah.
It's an informational seminar. Like this is what my
Essentially.
candidate stands for.
It's a commercial.
Yeah.
And then
You know what
every
it
time
is?
we get every once in a while, we get a spicy commercial.
It's just various versions of their stump speeches broken into smaller parts. That's all it is.
And that last part that you said they didn't write a new speech, I think they just really liked that part and they just kind of copied and pasted it from the old
Yeah.
speech into it.
And then it
Right,
said vice
so-
president for all the president
Yeah.
things. I was like,
Yeah.
That's what I was like, oh, the
So-
vice president's leadership is so poor. I was like,
Yep.
what
I
did
think
you
so,
expect her
exactly.
to be doing exactly?
More.
All right.
Oh.
Any thoughts? Anybody want to say anything? Chat, you guys got anything you guys want to add? Anybody get any bingos?
The replies to this tomorrow through the night will tell you who has only taken intro to econ and who has taken more than that.
Vance has not.
Vance is not.
Vance did well as far as being able to deflect and very well spoken. He's a Harvard lawyer. I totally expect a litigator to be able to talk like that.
He didn't seem nearly as robotic as he has in other interviews and stuff. I got to say that.
Yeah, they
He did.
trained him. They trained him up pretty good for the debate itself. Like he
Good-
only
good
got
prep work.
He only got flustered maybe twice, maybe 3 times. Like Walls set a few traps up for him, and he fell into it. But
Because he's stupid.
Real bad.
Especially, yeah. There was a couple moments where Vance definitely tripped, but he didn't do like Donald Trump bad. Like he wasn't.
No, fuck no.
He wasn't rambling incoherently. He was trying to make his points.
No one brought up the cats and dogs thing, as we predicted.
Nope.
And
I'm surprised.
And honestly, they were a bit more amenable than I thought they would be. Like they were both pretty.
They were
We
nice to
agree
each
on
other.
some of these things.
Yep.
And they weren't trying to like tear each other apart necessarily. They were trying to tear apart their running mates. Like Walls definitely went after Trump a lot, and Vance definitely went after Vice President Harris a lot. Like it's almost like these two guys were arguing for their running mates instead of arguing for themselves.
Which is the
And-
correct way to do it, honestly.
That's what the VP
Yeah.
is supposed to do.
I found Walt much better at answering questions. He did answer, where fucking Vance there was too many questions he just avoided, didn't answer. Kept on saying, "I'm going to
before I answer your
His go-to was, "I'm going to answer your question," but then he'd say something else. "I'm going to answer your question," say something else. "I'm going to
America's great.
Yeah,
That's my
So-
answer.
Where was this debate held?
So
I don't know.
Yeah, where are they?
At the CBS News headquarters in CBS News America.
They're in New York.
Yeah, they're in New York.
Yuck. I wanted to bring up a couple things that I just made notes on. One
you
where
kept
they
notes?
were, I kept notes.
Crazy.
When they were talking about the immigrants like stealing homes, stealing jobs, blah blah blah. I wanted to quote a news article where they were interviewing local business owners in Springfield, Ohio.
Yeah.
Where they were talking about how awesome their Haitian workers are because they always show up on time, they get all their work and quotas done, and they're great employees. And they don't see that kind of commitment from the local Ohio residents that live there. So fun. Immigrants are better, apparently. I think they mentioned it later, or Walls did. Fentanyl levels are actually reducing and drying up, especially in illegal amounts. So that's gotten better. And I think the last thing I want to talk about is Vance made a statement about like Vice President Harris like waving a wand Does anyone remember what that was in reference to?
No, sorry.
But like, I find it really disgusting how they're taking the tact of a strong woman with strong statements, showing true leadership must be bewitching or using magic or manipulating people in some way. And that's the only way they can succeed. It's not because they're smart. It's not because they're accomplished. It's because they're trying to trick you, and it's manipulative.
Mm.
And it bothers me how much more that rhetoric has been showing up again in politics. I wish I could remember what part of the debate he said that, but
Yeah.
my thoughts. Walls did good.
Yeah, I don't know why they were acting like he was going to be nervous. Anxious
Yeah.
makes more sense. Ready.
Yeah.
Ready. Yeah, he was raring to go.
Chomping
Type
at the
of thing.
bit.
Yeah.
Made his opponent agree with him like 6 times.
Oh,
yeah.
that
That
is
was
my
surprising.
favorite. That was my
Democrat.
favorite part.
Yeah.
Democrat Vance.
He got his opponent to almost do a Democratic part of the speech because he said something, got a nodding along, then it was Vance's turn to talk, and he basically highlighted half the stuff that Waltz wanted them to say, right? It's like,
I think it was parental leave is where he turned him.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
tricked him.
So, fuck.
Yeah, that is a good
job.
idea. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Oh, whoops.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Wait. Oh, wait, I got that.
So,
I'm minute bitter.
Well, there you go. Any other final thoughts from everybody else? Because I need to feed the animals and my allergies are bad.
It's not nice to call your daughter that.
Yeah, that's really rude, man.
I take a pill. I'm allergic to her. Thanks everybody for hanging out earlier. I will mute these clowns. Thank you, clowns. Thank you. I did actually. But Ollie-Man, Tim, Mark, and the Swede, and Wayne, thanks for hanging out with us. For all of you people who are new around here, please subscribe to the channel. It's right there-ish, I imagine.
I'm being oppressed.
Yes, you are. Like the video, and we will see you guys not Wednesday, maybe Thursday. We'll see how it goes. But stay tuned. Filthy Americans